What is up, you beautiful people? In this video, I'll basically be making my paid course free. Yes, you've heard it right, and you have watched or read the title and watched the thumbnail. You know that this is going to be about sales. So here's the thing. I have been taking a lot of classes on sales, and basically in my last company, I used to recruit salespeople, train the salespeople, and we had this internal course that I used to use to coach these people. So what I have done is I have made it free. So in this whole 3 to 4 hour long lesson, I think it will be somewhere around 3 hours long lesson, I have made the crucial videos which I have been using to train my sales guys, and which are the most impactful ones in my course. I have made them public for you. So this video will have 3 big parts. Part number 1, I'll be covering sales tonality, where I'll show you how exactly to speak on the sales call so that you can get clients, and whenever you're talking to a prospect, you can have a real conversation and not like a half-assed scripted thing, right? That's not how we sell. Now, thing number 2, after that is done, I'll cover the 3 major parts of a sales conversation. The 3 major parts are probing, pitching, and objection handling. We'll have one entire session, I think almost an hour and a half long session on probing, an hour and a half long sessions on pitching, and another one session on objection handling. And I'll be showing you how exactly we do that here. And all the documents related to them will be in the description. And I really wish you comment something if you like the video at any given point, because it took a lot of efforts, iteration, research to build this whole course, right? And if you want to kind of need more help, I have put down a link where you can apply and my team will call you back. So that's about it. Let's get into the video. We'll learn sales tonality in part number 1. There we go. In this video, I'll talk about verbal cues and tonality in sales. These are 2 of the most important sales tools that are so powerful that not only prevent objections, they diffuse objections. Using verbal tonality and verbal cues and tonality, you can 5x, if not at least double your sales game. Now, this video is going to be a live video of one of our sales classes. Yes, I charge money for that, but for this exact purpose, what I've done is I've asked permission from my students and my co-founder that this is an important topic that I need to share with the world, so you should watch it. So without any further ado, let's get started. I was talking to one of our clients. His name is Mr. Ankit Batra. How many of you are here from Ankit Bhai's team? Put AB in the chat box if you are from Ankit Batra's team. Okay, all right, a lot of people. So one thing he mentioned, that all his top players, when he asked like, what is it that you guys do so well that you are closing deals? I think the top players close about 60, 70, 50 deals a month, and their bottom players close about 10, 12, 13 deals a month. So only difference, when I asked him what is happening, he said the top players become very friendly with the prospect. They somehow build a lot of trust. And that's exactly what we'll be learning today. Okay? And to start with that, I'll teach you something about human brain. But if I show you this picture, don't get confused. We'll get into the actual nitty-gritties of the sales skills, which is why first thing I will share this particular document with you guys, right? This is the 5th week of our classic sales training program called Remote Closing Mastery. And because it's such an important topic, I didn't want to keep it to just myself. I want to share it with the world so that you at least get some knowledge out of it. So today's topic is tonality and verbal cues. The goal is to master verbal cues and use the right tone during a sales call so that you can build that relationships with your prospects. Okay? So in this particular thing, we'll cover multiple topics. Why are you learning this? What's the purpose of this? The magic of verbal cues and pausing. How to use verbal cues and pausing. We'll talk about tonality. How does it help? There are 5 types of sales tones that you should know about and practice on a daily basis to have the best or the most efficient sales call. I'll give you some examples of tonality, and then we'll talk about the deeper probing questions. And there is an assignment. The assignment is typically for our current students, but if you guys want to do it, please do it, because it will help you upskill yourselves. So that's there. So let's start with the first thing. Why are you learning this? Well, every salesperson here knows the drill. You ask your prospect a well thought out question, explain a detailed answer, tell them about how great our product is, how can it change your life, and you hope that it leads you to close to a sale. And instead you meet with a vague, short response and they barely talk, okay, yes, it will help. No, I don't really need this. This sort of a response. And despite your best effort, the conversation stalls and you're left with a polite, I'll think it over. I'll talk to my dead grandma. I'll talk to my ex-boyfriend who I don't even talk to. I don't know. All sorts of objections. So here we'll talk about how do we prevent these objections. So mind you, I'll not be teaching you some magic sales script, because honestly, what I believe is sales scripts don't work. It does not matter what you say, it matters how you say it. Okay? Now I'll give you a small example. Something happened to me, and this is where I picked up verbal cues. Back then I was learning sales. I was very new to this whole game. पहले नया सीख रहे थे, सब कुछ सीख रहे थे, and I just could not grasp this concept of verbal cues or tonality. मेरा mentor पढ़ा के थक गया. He almost gave up on me. Like, तेरे से नहीं होने वाला. During that time, I had an accident. So my mentor always said, like, act empathetic, act emotional, act like if you care, put yourself in others' shoes. Like, how do I know how to put myself in my prospect's shoes? मेरे को उसका जूता का size नहीं पता है. Right? So what happened was, while I was learning this, during that time, I met with an accident. So I fell from my bike, so I have a scar still in my left hand. So there was a deep cut here, and one dude was like, he was super, and I really am thankful to him because he took me to the nearest hospital, and the doctor came in, he saw my hand, and he just did this. Okay, can you see me on the big screen right now? Just put yes again, if you can see this, okay? He just did this, like this. This. Oh, sir, ho gaya, sir, bike se gir gaya, ye ho gaya, cut ho gaya. That's when I clicked, oh my God, he did not utter a word. And I just kept talking and talking everything about my problems. He just did like this. That's when I realized, oh, there is a lot more to do with how we talk than what exactly we talk. This is where the verbal cues come in. And I have been practicing it a lot for a while, and we have done over 3 million in sales. And this is the thing that I will give credits to. In fact, I tested it on 2 of my best salespeople. One guy came to me, oh wow, Zoom is celebrating. Okay, one guy came to me saying, oh Jayan bhai, I have 9 years of sales experience. And the other guy was like a complete fresher. So this 9-year sales experience guy, I thought like, okay, he'll kill it. So I gave him my sales script. And the other guy, because I knew he was a fresher, I taught him all these things deeply. And the new sales guy that I hired during that time currently is heading my sales team, because he really picked up on the verbal cues, even though he does not follow the script at all. Right? So your scripts don't matter. What you say doesn't matter. How you say matters the most. And that's exactly what we'll be learning. So the next topic is the psychological barrier. I gave the same exact script to 2 of my sales guys. The same script got me to close over $3 million in sales. However, one of them still closes as high as 30% close rate. In fact, this month his closing rate was at 60%, 66%, because it was a warm audience. The other person was stuck to sub 10%. Here is why. I keep sharing this and not enough people take me seriously. Your script doesn't matter. In a sales call, what you say doesn't matter. It matters how you share it. How you say builds the relationship, builds a sort of rapport with your client, which makes them to trust you. And in fact, in the first 5 to 7 seconds of getting into the call, your prospect starts judging you. They judge your body language, they judge your tone, and they judge your vocal cues, and they try to judge whether you are going to help them or not, or are you going to just simply sell them. In their mind, they're trying to figure out, hey, is this guy trying to hurt me? Or can I trust this guy? And this is called the reptilian brain. This is a fancy diagram of showing this, but I wanted to show this to you in my trusty little whiteboard. How many of you can see this if I stop sharing? Now, obviously in the document you have a more fancy version, but my, I don't know, you call it Renaissance painting, says that this particular portion of the brain is what we call the croc brain, or the crocodile brain, or the lizard brain, right? And then we got the midbrain, and then we have the neocortex version, which is the most advanced, most recently developed thing. Now we try to sell to this guy. We do all our marketing and sales, and all the scripts are built to sell this guy. But this guy has only probably 3 or 4 purposes in his life. The moment this guy receives a message, this thinks, is this guy trying to kill me? So should I kill this guy? Should I eat this guy? Should I mate with this guy? What should I do, right? So this particular brain exists to protect us from all sorts of harmful things. This is why exactly we are always skeptic of new things. This is why we are always skeptic of changing something new. You always have this doubt thinking, oh, maybe this may not work for me. Maybe I need to talk to somebody else. Maybe I need a second opinion. This guy is the reason behind that. And do you know who this guy opens up to? The croc brain only opens up to your friends, your families, and your relatives. So that this guy knows that those people, your friends, families, and relatives are your well-wishers. I'm not going to comment on the relatives part, but chalo, at least theoretically this works, right? Now, the crocodile brain responsible for initial filtering. This is who you are actually pitching to, right? Neocortex is what you think you are pitching to, and midbrain is what you are actually pitching to if you are satisfying the croc brain. So it goes here, then it goes here, your message, then it goes to the neocortex, right? The problem solving ability is something that is covered by neocortex. Now the croc brain filters things like this. If this is not dangerous, ignore it. If it is not new and exciting, ignore it. If it's new, summarize it as quickly as possible and forget about the details. Do not send anything up to the neocortex for problem solving unless you have a situation that is really unexpected and out of the ordinary, right? The problem with the sales thing or salespeople is that we have our highly evolved neocortex, which is full of details, abstract concepts, trying to persuade the crocodile brain, which is afraid of almost everything and needs very simple, clear, direct, and non-threatening ideas to decide in our favor. The harsh but true reality is that the croc brain, the source of your target's first reaction to your pitch, is going to ignore you. Only focused on the big picture and needs a high contrast and well differentiated options to choose between. It's emotional. This is why you are selling it to. It responds emotionally to what it sees and hears, but most of the time the emotional response is fear. So you have to bypass this fear brain. Now, so when you focused on in here with a short attention span, that craves always new things, and in need of concrete fact, it looks for verified evidence that does not look like abstract concept. Now, I told a lot of theories here. Now, if you want to really go deep into psychology, there is a beautiful book called Pitch Anything. It's a very thin book, hardly probably 100 pages, but this dude, Oren Klaff, is one of my biggest mentors in sales. And हम लोग क्या 5,000, 10,000, 1 लाख का चीज़ बेचते हैं. This guy raises funds for startups. So, his deals are in billions, if not millions or hundreds of millions. Because if he fails to raise funds for a startup, entire families go to die, right? So imagine the stakes in these scenarios. So this is exactly what I wanted to share. I know this part is a little bit boring, but this is where verbal cues come in. And a little bit of time, I'll show you how verbal cues act in action. So I'll be asking some of you to volunteer. I'll ask you guys to raise your hand probably, and we can have a really nice conversation with these exercises and see how a little bit of change in a particular sentence changes the whole meaning, right? To bypass the brain, you don't need a sales script. You need something that I call meta-verbal communication, or simply put, meta-communication. This is a secondary communication, an indirect cue about how a piece of information is meant to be interpreted. It means how you say a certain word has a bigger and larger effect than what you say, right? Now, how many of you want to see this thing firsthand? Raise your hand in the Zoom thing. There will be a reaction thing in Zoom. Click on that reaction button. There will be a lot of raise hand symbols like this. Raise your hands if you want to see this thing firsthand. All right. So who wants to be the dummy for me? All right. Put me in the chat box. Maybe I can pick you guys, one of you. So I'll pick from the people who raised their hand. Vishal, should you do a role play?
Yes, Jen, we can go ahead.
Awesome, awesome, beautiful. Thanks a lot. So what I want you to do, Vishal, is go ahead and read this sentence, but focus on the word that is in the dark. So let's say I'll do the first one for you and the second one for you, and I want you to do the rest. Okay? I didn't say he stole the money. I didn't say he stole the money. So next.
I didn't say he stole the money. 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 I didn't say he stole the money.
Right? And we see how just by emphasizing on one word and one different word each time, the meaning of the whole sentence changes. Right? How many of you think that is cool? Put cool in the chat box for me. And I want this interaction. कोई सोएगा नहीं आज की क्लास में. Put cool in the chat box for me. If that was pretty cool. Yeah? Awesome. Now this is exactly what my boys were missing, and a lot of salespeople keep missing, right? What people really miss out on is where exactly to put this emphasis. So if you just knew in your sales script which word to really put focus on, do you think you can really increase the impact of that particular line that you just said, or really increase the impact of that conversation that you just said, right? Yeah? Awesome. So we'll have a lot of this sort of exercises coming. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you for your personal details or get into your mind or something. This will be very simple exercises like this. Okay? Now, verbal cues and pausing are tools that can help you create a comfortable space for your prospects to open up. By carefully choosing your word and where you pause, you can signal to your prospect that this is not a sales pitch, but rather a conversation. So let's talk, let's engage, let's date a little bit before we get married, right? And this approach can flip the script. Touch wood, there is a book called Flip the Script by the same guy, Oren Club. I really admire this guy because he is the master of tonality, making the prospect feel at ease and more willing to share. Okay? Now, how exactly to use verbal cues in sales? So let me go ahead and show you this, and let me change the camera to, yep. How many of you can see me in the big screen? Let me know in the chat. So yeah. Awesome. Beautiful. It's clear. So let's unveil this first one. Uh-oh. My sticker is too sticky. Okay, got it. There are probably 7 verbal cues. Let's start with pause. So when you really want to put impact on a certain line, these micro pauses, just like I'm doing right now, these micro pauses, dramatically increase the impact of a certain statement. For example, if I were to ask you, let's say a question, which is like, let's say we have Sunil here. Sunil sends kids abroad for their education and whatnot. Their parents are on the call, and I want to really create an impact in the parents' mind by asking how important is it. What is the biggest challenge they are facing when it comes to sending their kid abroad? So I can simply ask, so Mr. Vishal, I get it. What is the biggest challenge that you're facing right now when it comes to taking your kid abroad? So if I just emphasize on the word challenge and just wait for 2 seconds and let the rest part go, what their mind says, okay, I need to talk about challenge. And most of the people start blabbering. What are the problems? What are the situations? Blah, blah, blah. No. What are the challenges that you are facing when you are trying to send your kid abroad? And just go mum. That silence is so painful that your prospects has no other way but to rather open up to you, right? So silence is a beautiful, beautiful way to go ahead and build certain type of impact in your whole conversation. You can slow down the speed so that your prospect really understands what exactly are you saying. Or you can say something very, very loud so that whatever you're saying, the impact of that particular thing goes up. Or you can say something really, really fast so that, this is not really important, but you are speaking really, really fast just to have a little bit of fluctuation, right? Sometimes you are repeating the same thing so that your pitch is clear, right? Sometimes you need to repeat a certain thing so that this thing gets installed in your prospect's mind. You might need to add something called as rhetorics, like, do you really think you can do that? You seem like a smart guy. Why couldn't you figure this thing out on your own? Sometimes you might need to add some sort of a rhetorical question. What this does, it creates it breaks the ice, it creates an atmosphere of friendliness, and sometimes you might need to use gestures, just like I'm doing, and sometimes you need to point, I don't know, my spelling is wrong here. You need to point certain things which allows you to divert the focus of your prospects into, different things, right? So these are different kinds of verbal cues. Now, how exactly to use this? We'll see it in a particular exercise that we'll do. Okay? Clear so far with the verbal cues? And if I have to give you one verbal cue that you can take home and keep using throughout your sales conversation, it's called the pause. बाकी कुछ भी नहीं सीखाना चलेगा. Just learn how to pause at the right time. That's all. It's so difficult for the human brain to pause because once we keep yapping, we just keep yapping. It takes a lot of self-awareness to pause at the right moment to create that sort of an impact, right? And if you notice, all the big politicians, all the successful figures in the history, they pause for effect a lot. आप मित्रों पढ़ोगे तो मित्रों के बाद वो पॉज करेगा, ठीक है? So I'm not taking names. So yeah, right? So rhetorical question. So it's like a question with an obvious answer, right? So that's called a rhetorical question. Now let's go a little bit deep, shall we? Or are you like, अरे यार तुम बहुत boring पका रहे हो और नहीं पढ़ना मेरे को? I need to really go deep into. I don't want to go deep into sales. I just want to keep using the same script that I have been taught all my life. Or do you guys want me to go really deep into this one concept so that from this point onwards, you never need to learn this one thing again? Deep? Put deep in the chat box for me. Okay, cool. We can go deep now. Yes, I like this. That was a rhetorical question. Yes, somebody really caught it. Good thing, Norman. All right. So next thing that we are going to learn is tonality. Tonality is nothing but verbal cues added with a little bit of emotions. Okay? Now, because when you're talking to people, you are talking to basically emotional beings. People respond to emotions more than anything. See, in the beginning of the call, more than half of you don't know who I am. Your boss told me you have to attend and you came and attended this particular call. You have no idea who this big, beautiful, handsome guy right here is. But by saying that word, some of you laughed. We broke the ice. We became friends instantly, right? And what tone did I use there? It was called a playful tone. To break that ice, so that we, kind of start a bond right here, right? Because we're emotional beings. And again, I did all of that without saying a word that I am funny. No, it doesn't need to be, because it's all in that meta-verbal communication that you just witnessed right in the first moment of coming into this call. Yes? How many of you agree? Put yes in the chat box. Awesome. Now what the F is tonality? Tonality in communication, especially in sales and negotiation, refers to the way one's voice conveys emotions. Emotions, attitude, intention beyond the words. And not just about what you say, but how you say it. Keep seeing this one line repeating all over the place. The tone of voice can express enthusiasm, doubt, sincerity, concern, confusion, or any number of emotional states. It plays a crucial role in how messages are received or interpreted by others. I mean, these are my notes, by the way, you can go ahead and read it. Now, it helps to build rapport with the clients, convey sincerity, effectively address concerns, and the right tone can make your client feel understood and valued, paving the way for successful outcomes. Whether it's showing empathy, enthusiasm, confidence, communication, whatever. This is the thing. Now, there are 5 types of tones you need to really look at when it comes to a sales thing. There are multiple types of tone, honestly, there are not just 5. But these 5 are the most important ones in a sales conversation. The first one is confused. Now you might ask, and a lot of people ask me, by the way, whenever I teach this thing, is it clear, by the way? Let me check if I can switch on the studio camera. Center stage. I think this will be a nice little zoom in. Yeah? Let me check if it is zoomed in. Yeah, awesome. Clear now? Let me know in the chat. Awesome. Yeah, this is cool. So a lot of people tell me that, Jayant, we are salespeople. Aren't we supposed to act confident about our product? Aren't we supposed to act like we know everything in the world and we have the answer to all their questions? Why are you asking us to sound confused? The reason why I ask is every other goddamn salesperson in the planet acts confident. And when you act confused, take 2 minutes of time to really understand the problems that your prospect is going through. It opens them up. You just stand out of the herd, right? And how does this confused tonality help? Let me ask you a question. So if I have to ask, what are the biggest challenges that you are facing when it comes to lead generation? That's a question that we ask typically for our marketing agencies. So if I ask, so what are the challenges that you're facing when it comes to lead generation? How does that sound? Full confidence, enthusiastic, whatever. Or if I say, Vishal, I saw your whole marketing funnel, it looks good. So what challenges are you facing when it comes to generating leads? Why at all talk to me? Now what kind of effect that gives to you? Do you think a prospect will open up to that as opposed to like really hyping, oh, what challenges are you facing? Tell me now. Which one do you think will work the best? The first one, the confused one, or the second one, the confident one? Give me like 1 or 2 in the chat. Yeah? Confused one? Confused one? Yeah? Awesome. Second one was confident, by the way. Yeah, I don't remember which one was which. So, curious. Little bit of curiosity in your tone goes a long way. So, especially in case of an inbound lead, let's say somebody put their name, email address, phone number in an ad, and they came and talked to us, right? Then we add a curious tone where we say, oh, Vishal, I'm really curious. What part about my ad really, vibed with you the most? Or what part of my ad, attracted you to us specifically though? Now, what this does, it opens them up. And every time I ask that question, by the way, what part of my ad really opened you up? They keep telling their Ram Katha, ये problem हो रहा था भाई, वो problem हुआ, लेकिन तुम्हारा ad दिख गया. And I thought like these guys are really good. And what this does, prospects sell themselves on me before I even start pitching about my product. Do you think this will help? Let me know in the chat. We'll do a lot of exercises in the future. Put yes in the chat box because your faces are very small to me right now from where I'm looking at. So put like yes in the chat box so that I know. Awesome. The third one is challenging. So let's say I'm asking a very difficult question. Let's say a difficult question is, let's say for example Sunil here sends, he runs a study abroad consultancy. Let's say we challenge the parents like, hey, what if we don't send your kid to abroad for education at all? If we don't change anything about your current situation, what do you think will happen? We call it future pacing in a negative way. We have a future pacing in a positive way as well. But let's say we ask the same question, challenge. So Vishal, can I challenge you for a second here? The reason why I'm doing this is because I really want to understand what's the alternative, just so that we steer clear of all the bad things and go towards the good things. I want to know. So let's say we don't change anything. Your kid stays here, he stays in India, compete with all the 100 colleges, and and we don't send him for a better and brighter future abroad. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think they will actually think about these consequences that I just talked about? Yeah? This is called a challenger tonality. There is actually a book called The Challenger Sale. So if you are a book nerd like me who likes to read a lot of stuff about sales, that's another book for you. Concerned. Somebody just shared their pain point. Oh, business mein pehle we used to get 30 customers a day. Now we are barely down to 15. Business is down by half. You don't want to sound, very, very confident. You want to sound concerned, like, what are you talking about? The business became half? And how did that make you feel? It's concerned. ये दर्द से आता है अंदर से, right? Because this guy's business just became half. Like, how can you not be concerned? But a lot of people, they ask like this. So, Mr. Vishal, so how did that make you feel? Like, who the hell talks like that? And people who typically follow a script, they talk like that. They never build a relationship with their people or their prospect. And what happens eventually is they say, oh, मेरा deal close नहीं हुआ. Prospect अच्छा था, लेकिन उसका mindset अच्छा नहीं है. All you sales people, I know the excuses because I have been a salesperson myself and I manage the sales team myself. Or playful. Playful one works very well in building rapport, breaking the initial amount of ice. The way, let's say we opened up a Zoom call, or let's say we went to a call. Let me give you an example, by the way. Yeah. Let me come back here. So we went to a particular client's company to pitch them. So in their case, I had to go to their office and pitch my services, right? And we were there, and this guy was like, "Hey Jayant, how are you?" Like this, very like Ritesh Agarwal type. Have you seen Shark Tank? How he's like always smiling like this, always like he was like that. "Hey Jayant, how are you?" It was a very friendly face, but I know this is the mask. So instead of saying, "All good, sir, how are you?" No, I said, "All good, Ritesh, just trying not to be the boring guy and not to bore you to death." And he laughed and we broke ice. And that was the moment we became friends, just like the way we did here today. I was like, "Can you guys see my big, beautiful, handsome face?" And everybody laughed. And I use this joke everywhere, by the way. People love it. My wife hates it though. कि तू handsome नहीं दिखता चल बोलती. But anywho, see, that was a playful tone again. So these are the 5 types of tone, and I have described this to their best extent here. You can go ahead and read it in the document. I just wanted to demonstrate this properly in this particular board. Now let's do another exercise. Who is up for another exercise? Very simple. Raise your hand and I'll pick you and we'll do a very quick exercise on tonality. Okay? Now Vishalko I'll not pick. Okay, Dishika. Dishika is not from our cohort, so let's start with Dishika. Hi Dishika,
Hi.
what is up?
Hello.
Whose team are you in?
Sorry?
I mean, you came from a client's team, right? Some.
Yes, from Ankit Batra's.
Okay, cool. Ankit bhai, अरे यहीं तो बैठे हैं आप. ठीक है, चलो ठीक है. Let's do a quick exercise here. Awesome. Thank you very much for being so prompt. This is the same word, yeah. But right next to the word, I have added a feeling, an emotion. Let me do the first 3 for you, and I want you to do the next whatever number. I forgot how to count. Yes, sir. Okay? The first one is yeah, neutral. Yeah, falling. Yeah, rising. Now I want you to act with this enthusiasm, excitement, super excitement, uncertain, surprise, and disinterested. Okay, let's start with this one.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't sound enthusiastic. Come on.
Okay. Yeah. So
Oh,
that's
yeah,
exciting.
Awesome. That's good. That's good. Then excited.
Yeah. So that's super exciting.
Okay.
Yeah. That's uncertain.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah. That's
Surprise.
surprising.
Yeah.
And then
Disinterested.
yeah.
See, it's the same goddamn word. I don't know how many emotions. Let me put a counter to it. We have 9 emotions
9 of them.
for the same word. And people tell me, "Oh, Jayant, give me a sales script that can close deals." अब ये एक word में 9 emotions हैं. How would you convey emotions in a whole sales script that goes for like 20 pages? Yeah, this is where understanding tonality absolutely comes into the picture. How many of you had a sense of what to talk and how to talk? And how many of you at least understood something how to talk? Put me in the chat box if you felt this was valuable. Awesome. आप मेरे को पढ़ाना कुछ नहीं, अभी exercises हैं. So how many of you want to keep doing this sort of exercises so that you install this whole tonality game in your mind? Raise your hands. Whoever raises their hands, I'll ask them as volunteers. I'll just keep giving you one line like this and we'll have a lot of fun like this. ठीक है? नहीं दिशिका का हो गया, अभी नहीं करेंगे. New people. I want new people. We have Naishargi as well. Let's start with, I don't know him, her, how to pronounce. But keep raising your hands. I'll pick people. नहीं तो मेरे को लगेगा यार you are hurting my feelings and you just came here just because your boss told you to. Come on. मेरा दिल दुख जाएगा यार सही में. Raise your hand. Or put me in the chat. Whatever works. देखा? See, you guys respond to emotions. Your prospects will also do that too. ठीक है? Cool. Naisargi, can you hear me? I'm trying to ask you to unmute, but not sure. Okay, we'll go with Sejal.
Yes, Jayant.
Awesome. Which team are you from?
Not from RCM batch 2.
Oh, you're from batch 2? Okay, awesome. Sorry.
Yeah.
I have too many people here to keep track. All right. Let's do this one. Can you tell me
Okay.
more about your current challenges? And we have 5 different tones that we'll be going through here, and we'll use this particular emotions while explaining these challenges. So let me do
Okay.
this one for you, and then you can start with this one. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Awesome. Cool. So the question is, can you tell me more about your current challenges? This is how a normal, neutral thing person will say. Okay? Now, if I'm
Okay.
confused, I'll say, I'm not quite sure. Uh, I'll say, I'll repeat. I'm not quite sure I understand your challenges. So could you explain a bit more to me? Then curious. That sounds interesting. Can you deep dive into those challenges for me? Challenging. So how do those challenges really impact your overall goals though?
Okay.
Concern. So gotcha. Man, these challenges, these are worrying me. So how are you coping with them? How does that make you feel? Playful. So if you had a magic wand, which challenge would you like to make disappear first? Right? You will get punch tonality. Let's start with
I
this one with you. Start with the confused one.
Okay. I'll just do it. Yeah.
Oh, I remember your profile picture. Okay, now I know. And I saw it.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah. So,
Fine. So, first is I'm confused. Sorry, I might have missed, but what exactly have you tried to solve the issue?
not bad.
Then,
Good.
okay. Then I'll go for curious. Oh, interesting. What other solutions have you experimented with?
Why don't you keep your
Fine.
camera on though? I can't see your face. Come on.
Actually, I'm with my cell phone, right?
Okay,
And
okay. You can't see.
not
Okay, okay.
visible.
Cool. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Go
okay,
ahead.
okay. Okay, so let's go for challenging tone.
Yes.
Do you think solutions were effective or could have been a better approach?
So it'll really help, when this sort of a question.
Yeah.
I try to do this in any question that I ask. I try to act slightly confused towards the end of the question.
Okay. I'll do it once again.
Yeah.
Do you think do you think those solutions were effective, or it could have been, or they could be a better approach? Something like this.
Yeah, something like I would say.
Oh.
Do you think the solutions
Yeah.
are effective, or could there have been a better approach?
Yeah. Okay, I
Little
got it.
confused
I
towards
got it.
the end really helps. Okay?
I got it. So I'll go for the concern tone now.
Yes.
It sounds like those attempts might have not worked out. How did that affect you? Learn.
That's cool. That's cool.
Okay. I'll get, actually there's some phone problem, that's why I'm not able to see.
No problem.
Well, I'll try with the playful tone. Okay. Try turning it off, on and again. Is that too cliche for the solution?
So
No.
playful is like,
Then please do
I would
this
try
for one.
restarting this whole thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that will help. That is a.
I got it.
Usually that's not the right tone for this question, by the way. But
I got it.
okay.
Okay.
Cool. Great stuff. Let's give a good hand to Sejal for trial. Who else do we have? We have Priyanka, but where we have Priyanka? Priyanka, raise your hand. No, otherwise I can't see. Do you see that reaction thing somewhere there? यार मेरे को एक ढूंढना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे. How many of you want me to pick you up? Just raise hand in that Zoom thing. मेरे को पता नहीं चल रहा यार कहाँ से निकालेंगे. Priyanka, I can't find one. Shweta. Okay, Priyanka raised her hand. Yes, awesome. So let's unmute Priyanka to begin with. Yes. Hi Priyanka, what is up?
Hi,
Which group are you from? Are you from our RCM or from any? Sorry?
AB's group. I'm from Ankit Batra's group. Yeah.
अरे अंकित भाई आपका टीम तो बड़े प्रोएक्टिव है यार. सही है. I like it. चलो, let's do it with this one. How important is solving this issue for you? Try with confused, curious, challenging, concerned, and playful. ठीक है?
Just wait. Yeah. And so, how important is solving this issue to you?
Yes. Act confused and go through this.
Okay. Confused tone. I'm a bit lost here. How critical is this issue for you. Actually, sir, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Actually, my eyes are weak. Actually, I'm not.
No problem. No problem.
This is
You want me
very
to
very.
is it better?
Yeah. This is better. This is better. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Confused tone. I'm a bit lost here. How critical is this issue for you, or a scale of 1 to 10?
So let's say we add a little bit of confusion to this. So I'm a little bit confused. So when I get confused, I act confused. Like my eyebrows come closer and I feel like this. I always tilt my head like this. So I'm a little bit confused. So how important is this solution for you on a scale of 1 to 10? Right? So this is a little bit of act. Even if I'm on the phone, right? I do this. It still conveys the same meaning because you might feel, okay, the other person doesn't see me. They still feel you, right? So
Right,
that
sir.
definitely helps. Let's do it. Curious tone. I'm really keen to know how high on your priority list is this issue. Let's repeat back.
I'm really keen to know how high on your priority list is this issue. Is this right?
Not bad. That's pretty good actually. इसको तो और थोड़ा सा practice करेंगे ना हो जाएगा बढ़िया हो गया.
Yeah.
Good
Okay,
stuff.
okay.
Let's challenge it. If that's so important, what's stopping you from tackling it right away? Challenge it मतलब बताओ तुमने क्यों नहीं कर लिया खुद से ऐसा वाला attitude, right?
Yeah. If it's so important, what's stopping you to from tracking is right away? Is it okay, sir?
और थोड़ा better हो सकता है कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. I mean, I'll give this sheet to you. I want you guys to practice this sort of a thing on a daily basis.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Because
Dude, like you guys are doing much better than my first ever attempt. Like I did this for 3 whole months. I couldn't get it. So it comes with a lot of practice. I'll give you some tips towards the end on how exactly to practice and to really become better. Cool. Then we got concerned tone. Let's go with this one.
concerned tone.
Yeah.
Okay. I can sense this. This is quite important. What impact is it having to you on your business?
So concern means you are seeing like something is not going the right way, right? Like
Yeah, right.
I can see this is quite important. So what impact is it having on you or your business? So how do you talk to a friend? किसी का घर में कोई death हो गई है. You don't say like, okay, what impact is it having you, right? You say like, भाई क्या हो गया? सब सही है घर में? How are you feeling? दारू पीने चले? Like I don't drink by the way. Just putting it out there. But yeah, this is how boys talk. I don't know how girls talk. I've never been a girl, so don't ask me. My wife just cries if she is hurt. So मैं बोलता हूँ चल आइसक्रीम खाने चलते हैं. She's all okay with that. But yeah. So anyhow, playful tone. I do this. I'll do this for you. ठीक है मैं ये बहुत बड़ा यूज करता हूँ. So playful tone में ऐसे on a scale of 0 means Giant I hate your face you ugly motherfucker to 10 Giant you are my bro I'll listen to whatever you say. Where exactly do you feel you need help here? So people are like active. I never use playful in this sort of scenario though. But good attempt Priyanka, very good attempt. I think थोड़ा और practice करेंगे तो बहुत अच्छा हो जाएगा. Good stuff.
Sir. अभी सर मुझे थोड़ा सा visible होने में problem हो रहा था,
कोई
but that
दिक्कत
is
नहीं.
very little actually.
No problem.
More letters there, that's why only, sir.
But you
Thank
got
you.
the gist, right? You got how to do this. I think you
I
could
understand.
practice.
Yeah, I'm understanding means how to just means
Awesome. Beautiful. I love it. Let's go with Norman Bhai. Norman Bhai तो फुट डालेगा उसको आता है बहुत सारा. So Norman Bhai is from Deepak Panish G's teams. He is already killing it. So let's do it, Norman Bhai.
High expectations. Sure.
High expectation तेरा. Now best or nothing, Norman Bhai तेरे से. Cool. So the question is, what are you looking for in a solution? I want you to give me these 5 here.
Okay. So let's start with the confused tone.
Yeah.
Could you help me understand a bit better? What's your ideal outcome here?
भाई देखो बोला था नहीं इसको सब आता है. I should not have picked you, bro. Like you already know this stuff. So चलो. Let's go with curious.
Okay. That's a good point. what specific features or results are you hoping for in this solution?
Okay, not bad. Very good. Challenging.
Are those criteria even realistic considering your current situation?
I do this a lot. So sometimes people come to me and they are barely making like 50,000 a month and they'll book a call. मेरे को नहीं पता होगा. And then I'll be like, okay, so what's your goal? They're like, I want to make 10 lakhs per month in the 3 months. Like, भाई तू 50,000 रुपए कमा रहा है. They're like, okay, this challenger tone definitely helps there. Concerned. Let's go here.
Finding the right fit seems vital for you.
It sounds confused, bro.
Okay.
Concerned. मतलब दर्द आना चाहिए थोड़ा सा.
Finding the right fit seems vital for you. How have the wrong solutions impacted you before?
थोड़ा सा और रहना चाहिए. So, I mean, you don't need to follow the script to the T. We can just say, Aman, it seems like it's a big challenge. So, what exactly are you looking for in a solution so that these issues can go away?
Mhm.
By the way, it's the same thing.
Right.
And this is what I mean by you don't have to follow the script. You can also like make your own words that makes you feel more comfortable stating the same emotion. That's why I say F the script. I should print it out in a t-shirt.
Okay.
Throw your scripts, ditch your script, whatever. Let's say playful.
Okay. So if you could design like a dream solution, what kind of superpowers would you have?
ये गलत टोन है लेकिन honestly इस particular situation but चलो ठीक है exercise के लिए it's good job Norman bhai beautiful I love it let's have big hands Norman who else wants to go Sajal का हो गया I'll not pick you again so we already did it so raise your hand last exercise of the day and raise your hand who should I pick or just put me in the chat नहीं तो I'll start picking from my end Shweta hi Shweta what is up
Hello, Jayanti.
Hi. Which group are you from?
Ankit Batra sir's team.
Sorry?
Ankit Batra sir's team.
Why Ankit Batra sir ka team is on fire, dude. Like, awesome. I can't wait to train you guys. Cool.
Thank you so much, Sajal.
Do you think it's helping?
Yeah, it's very helpful.
Awesome.
And it's interesting to all.
Let's do the number 5 one, last one. So how do you feel about the options presented? Let's say we pitch it. We can act confused, we can act curious, we can act challenging, concerned, playful. Playful wala kabhi kaam nahi aata. It's just for rapport building, honestly. I never use it apart from the first line. But yeah, let's go with this confused tone.
I'm not sure. I got your reaction. How do you really about these options?
How do you really feel about this option?
I'm not saying that.
हाँ चलो कोई बात नहीं. Do it again.
मुझे दिख नहीं रहा. Do it again?
Yeah, confused.
Okay. I'm not sure. I got your reaction. So how do you really feel about these options?
Yeah, cool. थोड़ा सा practice, but सही जा रहे हो. Curious.
Have you seen what's on the table? What are your thoughts? So what are your thoughts, sir?
Okay, so you have seen what's on the table. So what are your thoughts? So थोड़ा सा proactive, challenging.
So do any of these options actually meet your needs or sorry मुझे दिख नहीं रही line ये
Do
आगे
any of these options actually meet your needs, or are we just shooting in the dark?
Okay.
This is
So-
called confused or challenging.
So do any of these options actually meet your needs or are you shooting it in dark?
अब 2-3 बार पढ़ोगे तो हो जाएगा वैसे honestly. But
Actually,
good first
proper
attempt, no problem.
दिख नहीं रहा अभी थोड़ा ना proper.
चलो कोई बात नहीं. Concerned? Honestly, this is not the right thing to present for this question, but चलो ठीक है. We can still ask the concerned question.
Okay, so you seem a bit hesitant about these options. So what's on your mind? Can you please explain what's on your mind right now? This is okay? Or
इसको थोड़ा सा change. So what is going on in your mind? And like that, if you ask, I mean, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, ऐसे भी it was good. Playful will not work. It will feel very weird for this question, but let's do it anyway. Imagine this options for ice cream flavors. Which one would you pick? Or are they all vanilla for you?
So imagine these options with ice cream flavor. So which one you would pick, or are they all a bit vanilla for your taste?
Nice, that was actually good. Cool, good stuff. Big hands for Shweta. Good stuff, good stuff. I like it. Awesome. Awesome. So let me ask you all a question. Did you guys learn something about tonality, verbal cues, where to stop? Yes, put it in the chat box for me. And obviously, it's probably not possible to make you a master in like a 50-minute training. It'll need a lot of what? Practice. Yeah. So the way we practice, me, Adib, so in our team, we do daily role plays. So 10 to 11, right now Adib is doing with my sales team because I have to work with a lot of other places. So in our team, we do daily role plays on tonality without missing a shot. Monday to Friday, 10 to 11, we always do it. So try it. If you are in a team, please find a time to like actually do these role play exercises, and especially focus on the tones. Script भाड़ में जाए, script आप change कर सकते हो. Feel free. I don't care. आपके sales manager ने आपको script दी है, उसको जला दो आज रात. It won't help. You understand the framework, you use the right tone. That's the key to the sale. Okay? So I want you guys all to practice this. Now, let me, by the way, we also did something called as a mirror exercise. I do it in my bathroom till date. So look at yourselves in the mirror and try asking the same questions in different tones, and you'll yourself feel what tone is right for you. It's an acting exercise, by the way. It's not even a sales exercise, but I make people do it because it's at the end, it's just communication. Come on. It's just you talking to another human being who should respond emotionally to you, right? That's the whole game here. So all you have to do is practice on this whole thing. Next, I have added something called as deeper probing questions. So these are important because our current students would know we use something called as a Socratic dialogue when it comes to selling. We never have a PPT open. We never say, oh, we have the best product in the world. We actually do something called a Socratic dialogue. That means we ask very skilled questions to our prospects so that they convince themselves on the sales process. So I always keep telling this, you don't sell when you convince someone. You sell when they convince themselves that this is the right fit for me. So how do you take them from a journey of like, should I listen to this guy, to like, oh, I should definitely buy from them? It's through the art of asking really skilled questions. Now, in our journey, let's say, even if you are asking people, in your case, Ankit Batraji's case, because his team is so proactive, I love it. Let's say you guys your prospects have just attended the webinar and you are on a call with them. Or even if they have, picked the call, did not signed up for the webinar, did not attend it. Okay? Whatever the case, you can simply ask in a curious tone. So, Priyanka, so what really attracted you to our thing? What really, आपको क्या ऐसा अच्छा लगा हमारे ad में जो आप हमारे webinar में आ गए? अभी नहीं आ पाए, whatever. And then say blah blah blah. Gotcha. Then what to say? So I add something called as deeper probing questions. So when they give one answer, never believe them. Everybody in the world lies because in their mind you are another salesperson. So what we do, we add these set of questions that I call deeper probing questions. When you add these layers of questions, they keep telling more and more about this stuff. So let's say they said, oh yeah, I'm having this issue. I really think numerology can be the answer. Gotcha. So tell me more about why you feel like numerology can be the answer. Now they'll have to explain that last statement. In the process of explaining the statement, they keep saying whatever they want to say, and in the process of explaining this thing, they convince themselves, right? So that is the theory. During affirmation, they have taught me, and there is this podcast by Tom Bilyeu and Simon Sinek where they said why you should not be saying bad things about yourself, because whatever you say, it resonates 4 to 7 times in your head, and whatever you write resonates 10 to 15 times in your own head, which is why you should never say bad things about yourself. You should always say positive things about yourself, which is also the whole affirmation sciences are built on that. So when your prospect tells about the problems that they are facing, they understand what problems they are going through, which makes them realize the gap that you are selling. So let's say they said, oh, I'm having XYZ issue. And you said, tell me more about this XYZ issues. So let's say they say, अरे business loss में जा रहा है. Really? What do you mean when you say loss में जा रहा है? Then they start giving you numbers. Got it. How does that make you feel? Or has that put you in a tough spot? Concerned. वो क्या बोलेगा? Yes, I have. Thank you for understanding. Because half the time entrepreneurs are lonely, honestly. Everybody is lonely. Like, we don't really have honest conversation nowadays, right? So let's say somebody is not giving the right sort of answer. Like, हाँ सही चल रहा है, लेकिन थोड़ी थोड़ी दिक्कतें आ रही है. Really? Can you give me any example of this दिक्कतें that you are talking about? Or sometimes you can just restate their statement as a question. Let's say, oh man, don't tell me this weight gain is stressful. Weight gain is stressful? Or sometimes, my favorite, I do the same thing that the doctor told me to do. Nowadays, whenever somebody comes, in fact, I did it with Sunil. Sunil came on a call, he said he was facing XYZ issue in the business. I was like, huh, I did this. And he kept talking a lot. So that helps, right? So that is one verbal cue that helps. So I just say, huh, really? I'll be like, huh. And people keep talking a lot. So that's my personal cue, at least for my personality, that works a lot. Why do you say that though? Let's say somebody says, weight gain is stressful. Really? Why do you say that though? Then they start explaining that statement. In the process of explaining, you can find so many more pains that you can leverage to pitch. Because pain nahi hoga to kya hi bechoge? Your prospects need to feel that pain, right? This is my favorite. Has that ever put you in a tough spot? Concerned. The same concerned tone. In what way though? And this scale, I love it. So I don't understand. So I get it. So just to quantify this, based on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your situation right now, where as opposed to where it possibly could be, or where it could possibly be, something like this. And then they give a number. So this is all in this particular tutorial. And there are some assignments. People in RCM, it's compulsory for you. People who are not in RCM, please do it. It will really help. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is record these sentences, these 5 statements, and start observing, start listening to you. And it's super cringe. I tell you, it's not easy. It's so cringe to listen to your own voice. But trust me, it will allow you to really introspect and become more self-aware about how is your tonality. If it is not even 90% convincing to you, or it's not even 10% convincing to you, it's not going to be 90% convincing to your audience. So make sure that you are sold on your own tonality, and this can be done with a lot of practice. आप चाहो तो अपने sales script को ही practice कर लो, I don't care, but do this, because this is the literal game changer between somebody who is really successful in terms of closing deals as opposed to somebody who is struggling to meet these things. Yeah. So there you go. Next we got and you can add your own 100 to 200 word reflection and write it for yourself. I'm not going to check. I'm going to check our students' reflections 100%. And then do a role-playing situation. Just ask the same questions along with deeper probing questions with some of your teammates or in the community. Just talk to each other, right? So if you do that, so what are the challenges that you're facing? Tell me more about it, and observe how they are opening up. If your teammates can open up, your prospects can open up as well. So do this exercise, and you can paste your assignments here, or the recording links here for the people, my boys or girls in remote closing mastery, obviously. And if you're not in the community, it's okay. Do it. At least practice ho jayegi achhi wali. Yeah. Cool. So let me ask you a question before I take doubts right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, oh wait, Zoom is doing this thing. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you rate this particular class? Let me know in the chat. Oh wow, Sunil, I got that validation now. Awesome. How much would you refer a friend to take a class like this? This is my NPS score here. Whoa. Awesome. I love this. Now, how many of you promise me that you'll go to your home and do this exercise? Because मैं पढ़ाने को तो पढ़ा देगा मैं, तुम लोग practice नहीं करेगा कुछ नहीं होगा, ठीक है? This is very important. I can only give 1 hour of my time, and that's too like आज तुम free में दे दिया, चलो. But yeah, please do practice. Now, thank you. I have recorded these responses. Now, let me know if you have any questions. Raise your hands in the Zoom. If you don't have any questions, please lower your hand so that I don't ask, everyone. Shweta, you have a question? Okay, I'll lower your hand. How many of you have a question to ask? I'm open for discussions. Link to this sheet. This links to this doc. Yes, here you go. Go ahead and check it out. Cool. सबका डाउट क्लियर हो गया. चलो ठीक है, नहीं पूछते किसी को. बढ़िया. ये दो सिचुएशन में आता है, डाउट्स ही नहीं आते. Either you understood everything or you understood nothing, or let's say add a third situation where you understood something but it was too overwhelming for you and you want to go through it. I'm assuming it's number 3 because that hurts me the least. ठीक है? Don't worry, I have been doing these classes for a long time, so it's okay. All I need is you guys practicing. Shweta, madam, what is up? कैसे हो? आपकी टीम मेंबर है आज?
I have a pointed question here. While we prepare our sales script and we also have the tonality training in place, but how to gauge कि कौन सा टोन में यहाँ पे प्ले करना है, कौन सा टोन में यहाँ पे प्ले नहीं करना है, ये तो एक्सपीरियंस के साथ ही आएगा ना. तो बट आर देयर एनी गाइडलाइंस लाइक based on the pre-conversation before getting into the call, or what are the guidelines? Ki kaun sa?
I mean, those guidelines is something that I'll be covering in the next thing. So whenever I create a sales script, I actually do this. I add like the tone. I bold the word that you need to emphasize on in that particular thing. So वही आपको जो assignment दिया था ना, create your own badass script. I will. So badass, by the way, is my proprietary sales framework. It's called building rapport, attaining control, demystifying. It's a whole acronym. I called it badass because
when we are training the staff, we know we are able to gauge people based on the experience.
But so वहाँ पे लिख देते हैं, यहाँ पे like ऐसे लिख देते हैं कहाँ पे confusion आना चाहिए, कहाँ पे confident आना चाहिए. So confident I didn't clear, right, because that's obvious honestly. But yeah, concerned कहाँ आना चाहिए. So you can add this. So I normally add this in the script. So that's why I don't ask the entrepreneurs to write the script with the tone first. तभी मैंने आपको बोला आप बस script बना दो, बाकी का ये जो मसाला है मैं डाल दूंगा उसके ऊपर, कहाँ पे क्या पूछना है, right? So looking at the script itself, they'll know how to act in which situation, and with practice, they'll basically, get to a good level.
Okay. Can I ask you, or can I jump in for 3 minutes?
Yes, Sunil. Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you. So a lot of my team members are there in this meeting. I saw Sadanand and everybody. Thank you very much for being there. And to everybody who's attending this meeting, I can see that all of you are very, very young people. So I will tell you a small story. I'm 54 years old now. And when I was 29 years of age, one of my friend from XLRI Jamshedpur graduate had organized only for us friends a sales program in a Lonavala resort. When I was 29, today I'm 54. Today, this session is the only second session that I have attended after the Lonavala session. Okay. Now, and hear me out, Jayant, you will see this. I have always said that I could build my business entirely based on the seminar that I had attended on behavioral selling skills in Lonavala. Now, I want to share with all of you here, all these techniques work like mathematics. Only thing is, it takes some kind of a practice, conscious practice.
Yeah.
Learning these techniques is like learning to drive a car. Once you drive a car, you can go places. But initially, when you are learning, your car will stop, you will be very conscious, with that clutch and gear and all that kind of a thing. And then you will think, "Arey yaar, isse to main paidal hi jata to acha tha." No, yeah. Avoid that. And stay with that car and learn to drive. Oh my God, once the car starts driving, all these techniques work like math. So I don't want many of my friends who came to that Lonavala meeting, Jayant, said, "हाँ ये तो क्या है?" And you know, some people have this डेढ़शाना attitude. ये सब theory में चलता है. Particularly sales people. Huh?
Yeah.
After every sales meeting, while going out and lighting a cigarette, everybody will say, "वो जैन सर theory बात करता है, practically वो हमारे inquiries को आके बात करेगा." तो it's a very short-sighted attitude.
Yeah.
I have actually implemented all the suggestions of behavioral selling skills and objection handling that he taught me in Lonavala and built a business of a few crore of rupees, international business, only on the basis of those 2 days of training. Today, I saw the same value in Jayan's every single suggestion. My only thing is to these 44 people who are attending it, initially, because of the hiccups, you will feel like throwing it away.
Yeah.
But if you stick with it for 6 months, you will build an empire out of it for the rest of your life. That's and Jayant, तुम सब में सबसे ज्यादा सफेद दाढ़ी मेरा है. So I thought of taking my experiences.
Thank you very much. Thank
I
you very
came out of the line and I came uninvited, but it came where I couldn't control myself in just explaining this to people.
Thank you.
Thank you very
much, man. That was really awesome. Awesome. So you know what? My mentor, when he took this class, he's in US, so he's a US sales guy. He gave a disclaimer in the beginning. He's like, "I'm giving you the last chance to leave this webinar because after what I taught you today, you'll never be able to see your sales script the same way." And yeah, that happened. Actually, my sales dipped after that. So don't worry, your sales won't dip. But I became so self-aware of my own vocal patterns, my tones, that initially there was a small sales hiccup, but then it went like whoosh, like this. And I used to sell so when I became like a sales closer for Deepak, I would convert at 5%, 10% in the webinars, and probably in a one-on-one call 15, sometimes 10, and this dipped to like 5% in one-on-one calls as well. And then it straight up jumped to like, once I got it, 33, 40%, 25%. And this month, I'm proud of saying this, Adeep's conversion rate is 66%. So 2 out of 3 calls he closed. And a new sales guy that I hired this month, and we hired them on February 15th, in 15 days. That's our ramp up period, by the way. I'm really proud of this because our ramp up period is the fastest in the industry, 14 to 15 days. In 14 days, this guy Shivam, I don't know whether Shivam has attended, Shivam Dhiri, he closed at 35%. Internationally, the conversion rates, average conversion rate is at about 10%. So, and by the way, Shivam doesn't even remember half of my script. He just knows tonality. That's it. Right? So that's how powerful this is. So I want you guys to take it up and start acting on it. By the way, one final permission. By the way, this whole presentation I created because a lot of the entrepreneurs, whether they were my clients or not, Ankit bhai is not yet my clients, but when I see this pain कि यार कुछ लोग बहुत अच्छा perform कर रहे हैं, कुछ लोग नहीं कर रहे हैं, there are some sales people in my network who say यार मेरे से हो ही नहीं रहा and all that. I thought like this is not something that I should gate myself inside a private community where I'll just teach to people who have paid me money. I want this out in the world, so I want your permission, especially people who have paid me money. Can I have your permission to put it on YouTube? Put yes in the chat box, and don't worry, you will not have any competition. It's just that people out there will get some free gain. Yeah? Awesome. Thanks a lot for this. You guys are generous. I love it. I'm so proud to mentor you guys. So, alright. So, if you learned something by looking at this brain picture, then let me know in the comments if this whole session was valuable. And if it was valuable, please do subscribe and share this lesson with your friends. Because honestly, I charge a lot of money to show you all this. And I don't want, honestly, from my whole heart, I don't want to limit this knowledge to just a paid gated community. I want the whole world to know this. So please share this whole knowledge to your friends or family, whoever wants to become really good at sales or communication. And if you want to become a world-class salesperson with trainings like these, then there is a link below this video. You can click on that and book a session with one of my team members where we'll understand your requirements, because we have very high bar for taking our students, and just apply for it and we can definitely talk more about it. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video. All right, and the last part, what we understood is the sales tonality. Now, once we understand tonality, now we need to apply on the sales call, right? So I have created my own homegrown system of sales, which I call the badass framework. And essentially it has three parts: probing or information gathering, understanding requirements of the customers, why they want to buy, what they want to buy, what have they tried before, what has worked, what has not worked, all of those stuff, right? Second is called the pitching, where you actually present your product, your services, how are you better than anyone else, all of those. And third is objections. So in this particular section, we'll be learning how exactly to probe and gather information from people while not being very salesy. So without any further ado, let's get into the video, right? This class is also very important, just like the last one. The reason why I spoke about tonality first is because majority of the people that I personally work with, they suck on tonality. They remember everything about the sales script, right? They'll remember word for word the sales script, and they will still suck in their sales call. And hence, the reason was tonality, and hence tonality and verbal cues are something that I covered in the last session. Now today, we'll learn the actual sales script. And though I won't say sales script, because I hate script as much as I mentioned the last time. I believe in frameworks. I'll show you about our sales framework. What are the different parts of my sales process, okay? And then there will be an assignment. It's about the sales framework, right? So it's like, if you're like an actor, usko दुनिया का सबसे best script भी दे दो, if they don't have tonality, they'll suck. But if they have all the tonality, but they don't have a script, well, then they're still stuck. So both of them go hand in hand. It's not like you ignore one above the other. At least you should know the right framework. Now I'll make you understand this framework with the help of this graph. This is literally the cornerstone of my business. Like our entire business of consulting is based on this graph. So no matter what you sell, to anyone you sell, right? There is always a current state, there is always a desired state. I hope I'm clear with this one, right? People are somewhere, they are not happy, they are sad, and there is a desired state, people who are jumping with happiness, they are sad. Although some of my team members, when they saw this diagram, they say, "Ye poti mein to nahi baitha hai." But yeah, but however, forgive my horrible drawing. However, we want to show our guy that we can take them from here to here. And the difference between this guy and this guy is called the gap. There is actually a book called Gap Selling by this author. His name is Keenan, who talks about this in very, very detail. And in my sales process, I will basically show you how exactly we demystify the gap, how exactly we amplify the gap. We show them that the gap is not this big, the gap is this big. And then how exactly through our sales pitch, oops, sorry, that's not the right one. We connect the gap and bridge it with our vehicle and the pillars. So this is a basic visual representation of my sales process. And to make sure that you remember this, I have framed it in a nice way. Some people call it spin selling, some people call it something else. One of my mentors call it NEPQ, but I call it the badass framework because it's a cool word. Next of how this whole sales framework works. So my sales process is divided into three parts. And the first part of my sales process is called information gathering phase. The first part is not about selling at all. A lot of people get nervous about, okay, if I go to the sales call, what if they, customer gali de dega, what if they reject, all those things. Well, if you don't have to sell them anything, you don't have to worry about anything. Our sales call is all about just gathering enough information to figure out how good or bad of a fit our own sales framework is, our own product is for them. So we don't have to sell them anything. Now, second part of my sales process is all about the pitch. Now, whatever information we gathered from the information gathering phase, we connect it with our sales pitch. Exact word of the client, we connect it with the sales pitch and make sure that the sales pitch is at least it feels very, very customized to the prospect. Now, the third part is called, probably the negotiation and objection handling part, where once we reveal the price, फिर शादी हो गया. फिर उसके बाद, we need to work on the objections, figure out how do we navigate through that, how do we clear some doubts that our customers might have. So these are the three parts of our sales call. So the actual pitch, the part where people are most scared of in a sales call is the second part. बाकी सब easy है. So today we'll cover the first half of the call, and To cover the first half, I need to take you through the journey of 7 belief system. A lot of people might know, a lot of people might not know. You need to break and build 7 core beliefs in your prospect's mind. Now, alternatively, if you don't break or build these 7 core beliefs, these will come back and bite you in the ass like an objection. Like for example, the problem. Unless there is a problem, you can't sell. Like imagine if you started a sales conversation with a full-on PPT saying, our company is the best company in the world. I'll give an example. So very recently, we wanted to build like a custom app for our group here. And we are trying to build some sort of a sales CRM that you can use in the future. So building like a sort of SaaS products on top of coaching and everything so that it becomes a very holistic coaching program. Now, when we connected with this guy, they're the app development agency, this is how the call started. This guy opens the call and say, oh, our company is funded. Our startup owner is, I don't know, he's like some series, kuch unicorn bana ke rakha tha, I don't care. So he said something like this. And he's like, we can build the best app for you. He did not ask me for what are my requirements, why do I need this app, without this app, how am I managing, nothing of that sort. So he did not dig my problems. And inherently, even though I know this stuff, mere muh se nikal gaya, I don't see this working for me. Why would anyone say this is not working for me? Because in your prospect's head, the problems are not clear. So you have to make sure that the problems that you are solving with your product is clear in your prospect's head. The second one is called doubt. A problem to pata chal gaya. Now we have a problem. Now, what if I could solve the problem all by myself? Would I ever go to somebody else? No, right? If I know all the techniques in the gym, let's say I go to gym daily, you can see my dole shole. So if I know all the workouts that are needed, all the nutrition that is needed, I would probably not go ahead and hire a gym trainer. I would probably hire a dietitian if I probably don't need that, if I need that, right? So if I could figure it out all by myself, I would never hire somebody else externally. So we have to challenge and build a belief of doubt that cool, you can do it on your own, but the cost of the amount of time, energy or money that you need to learn or do things yourself will be significantly higher than simply hiring me. For example, if I were new to the working out processes, the accountability and whatnot, I hired a sales gym trainer for almost a year. The reason why I did that, because if I went to the gym, I tried doing all those things myself, watching YouTube videos, doing nutritions and whatnot, it would take me years, if not months, to figure things out. ये बंदा कि 1-2-3 महीने में मेरे को सिखा के चला गया. And I was happy because my job was done and the journey became shorter. Now, if the doubt was not in my head that, you know what, I can figure this out myself. If this doubt was not there in my head. It's also called the ego problem. A lot of people have this ego that, hum kar lenge khud se, right? If you are not building that doubt, they will never believe or never even be open to the possibility of hiring somebody else, which is why we build something called as a doubt belief. Next one is called cost belief. Now, what is cost belief? Cost basically is the cost of investing, cost of inaction, cost of not doing anything about that problem that we figured out should be way higher than the cost of simply hiring you and getting it done, right? So the cost in this particular phase can be time, money, effort, energy or resources. It can be any of these 5 things. So as your cost of inaction should be higher, they should believe that the cost of not working, not acting on it should be way higher than the cost of investing in product, right? This is another belief. Next one is desire. A problem to pata chal gaya. There should be a compelling payoff. If the problem is solved, what is that happy state? What is the desired state, right? And again, there are 2 types of problems and 2 types of desire. First type of problem is surface level problem. Business nahi aa raha hai, right? But deeper problems is like, oh, I'm procrastinating. There is nobody to push me. There is no accountability. Mujhe bahut akela feel ho raha hai. I don't know. Desired state. My business is growing sustainably. I am comfortable. My team is comfortable, and I'm more satisfied, more fulfilled with my business. These are called deeper level desires, right? So there is surface level and there is emotional level desire. Similarly, there are surface level pains and emotional level pains. So we need to uncover these out. And by uncovering these, your prospect understands that there is a gap between where he is now or she is now where he or she wants to go. So this is the desired part of this equation. Okay? Next part is money. Money belief doesn't mean that they need to have money. Money means they should have the resources and the willingness to invest in a product. How do you invoke this belief is something that we'll talk. अब किसी के पास resources नहीं है and they are willing, they'll figure out a way to pay you money. Always. I have seen this firsthand all the time, and here we'll cover how exactly to understand whether they have the resources and willingness, and how to build that feeling of resourcefulness and willingness to invest in your product. Okay? Next is support. People will still not invest in your product if they feel like their loved ones, their partners don't support them in this decision. अगर उनको लग रहा है कि everybody is against me, they will never take action, or there is low probability of them taking action. There are a few crazy ones out there always, right? So we have to make sure that they know that their supportive ones, agree with them in investing this product. Otherwise, कैसे objection आते हैं? I'll need to talk to my dog, I'll need to talk to my dog's grandmother, I'll talk to my dead husband, I don't know. So I'll talk to my partner, I'll talk to my ex-girlfriend, boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, I don't know. They'll come up with all this sort of nonsense. So support belief needs to be broken as soon as possible. Then we need to build a particular belief of trust. Now trust comes in 3 levels. One is the trust in the method, that whatever method you propose them is the right method to grow. Trust in themselves that I can execute on this method. I'm comfortable with executing on this method. My team can do it. I can do it, whatever. And third, I trust on you. And I always tell Deepak, people come to me thinking that Deepak will give them service, but they get sold on me always. So it's very, very important that you personally build a lot of trust with the client. So trust on all the 3 levels. Trust on themselves, trust on you, or trust on the product. Trust on themselves नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा? Let's say you are selling a gym membership. They're like, oh, I'm not a very consistent person, so I don't think this will work for me. Oh yeah, because they don't trust themselves, right? Second is trust on the method. I don't see a keto diet working for me, so I don't know if I should go for it. ये वाला objection आएगा. If they are not sold on trust on you, they will not say it out loud कि Jayant, I don't trust you. Nobody says that. They'll be like, oh, I need to think about this. I don't take rash decisions. We have 3 other vendors to talk to. These are the things that they will start saying, right? So by building a sense of trust, we make sure that the method that we present them is the only method that can give them results. They can execute on this method, and we are the only people that can help them. A very good example of this is Russell Brunson. How many of you know about Russell Brunson? Some people may know, some people may not know. He is one of the top OG internet marketers out there. Author of a lot of books. I read them. Yeah, there you go. So you can check his books, and he has a software called ClickFunnels, and I love the way he pitches. He will do this 1 month long, I don't know whether they do this challenge or not, 1 funnel away challenges. Earlier they used to do that. Now in that 1 month, they will not share that, okay, ClickFunnels is great, you should buy from me or whatever. They break that belief, saying that websites are just like online pamphlet and brochures, they don't work anymore, conversion rate is super bad, and funnels are the best ways to make the most amount of money. That's the belief that they will install on the method. Then they'll say ClickFunnels just happens to be the best software to help you through this. And I'm the best person because I have built so many funnels in my life and so many millionaires, billionaires in my life that this can absolutely work. So once he installs these 3 levels of trust, people just buy. That's the only reason why they are so successful, right? So this is all about the 7 core beliefs. Now let me introduce you to something called as the BADASS framework. Now obviously it's an acronym. So BADASS stands for building rapport, attaining control, demystifying the gap, amplifying the gap, selling the dream, and slashing the objections. Now in this whole process, the first half, this part is called the discovery call, or we can say discovery phase or information gathering phase, you can name it. Many gurus, many terms, all those. Then there is a proposal stage where you actually propose your solution, you propose your product, and then there is objections, slashing the objection phase. Now aligning with the 7 belief systems, I have added basically 7 checkpoints that you can go through to build and break this sort of belief. So in this entire call, I'll show you how exactly this process goes and how exactly to tackle those 7 beliefs that I mentioned in a little bit earlier that you can apply in your whole sales process. Now, the first part of this whole process is called building rapport and attaining control. And this whole, by the way, this whole framework, it doesn't take more than like 1 hour. The maximum that I've gone to in this in sales calls is like, even if it's a 2-call close, it doesn't go more than 1 hour collectively, right? So the first 2 parts, building rapport and attaining control, they combinedly take about 2 to 3 minutes. It's that easy, right? Now, every salesperson or sales coach says build rapport, but majority of them, building rapport would mean, hey, how are you? Where are you from? Oh, Bangalore, I have been to Bangalore. This is how they build rapport, right? Which, I kind of slightly agree with, that works in some cases, but majority of the cases that doesn't have any impact on the end goal, the last sales conversation. So it's good if you can be a little bit funny, but if you're not funny, then it sucks, right? So in my case, how do I build rapport? See, rapport building builds trust. So whenever you are in a call with somebody, there is a high chance that they don't trust you right from the get-go. So there are 2 ways you can build rapport. One of them is listed here. Is one way, what I use is I try to be a little bit funny and it works. Like for example, if I say, hey man, can you hear me? They say, hey Jayant, I can, yes, how are you? I'm like, just trying to be the boring guy, man, trying not to bore you to death. Is that cool? And they laugh, I laugh, we break the rapport. But not everybody can have that playful tone, so I had to devise a certain way. What I've seen works the best, if you feel like this is not for you, is this particular line. How do I build this rapport? Is like, can you hear me? Or in the Zoom call, if it is on a face-to-face call, then how was your day? Have a glass of water, whatever you can do there. Then you can take over this. This is the line that I use. It's like, all right, Deepak, so, and I have a bunch of notes. I always have, I don't know where it is in my bag. So I always try to look at my notes. It's like, so Deepak, it looks like you need some possible help regarding X. Right? For example, alright Deepak, it looks like you need some, so you booked a call regarding some possible help related to generating leads for your business. And you have to act confused. And the reason why we are acting confused is because they don't expect a salesperson to be confused. Now what we are basically asking is, it feels like you need some possible help. Right? I'm not saying I can help you with everything that you have. You need some possible help. It shows that I don't know whether I can help you or not. So taking a step back, it's like a dance, right? You're taking one step back saying, hey, it seems like you need some possible help regarding XYZ. Yeah? Awesome. So again, you don't have to follow the script as long as you understand what we are conveying here. What you are basically conveying here is, we are trying to get to the point as fast as possible. In my experience, a lot of people appreciate that. It obviously varies from case to case. Let's say, for example, you are selling B2C products. You are selling to kids and the parents are the decision maker. In that case, you can't just, it looks like you'll book the call because of possible help of sending your kid abroad. वो भी काम कर सकता है, but most of the time it's like, how's the kid doing? What was his last, all good? What motivated you to go abroad? Something like that. Mild conversation can still work. But in my experience, this has worked in every single scenario. Now, यहाँ पे मैंने customer लिखा because that was our script, but you can change that to like, alright, Jayant, looks like you booked a call with me about looking at possible help regarding weight loss, about getting possible help regarding sending your kid abroad, about getting possible help regarding, I don't know, growing a beard, whatever works for you. Or you can also do this, by the way, it helps a lot. So I was just curious, what really attracted you to the webinar? It does the same thing. It opens them up. The point is to open your prospects up, right? So if they're registered for the webinar, I'll be like, just curious, man, dancing is a very odd little way to fitness, obviously. So what really attracted you to the webinar? Instead of a confused tone, you can use a curious tone and ask the same question. It still opens them up. Next part is called attaining control, or it's called framing. For example, if So how many of you have gone on a sales call at all in your life? Just put me in the chat box if you have gone through a sales call at any given point of your life. Most of the time people will say, oh, tell me how you can help me and tell me the price. Not even in this tone, they'll be like, okay Jen, tell me how can you help me and tell me the price. And I'll tell you the deeper psychology of this. Yesterday I was on a call with one of our very premium clients, like agency clients, and there was an odd scenario that we did with this client. This client did not need any salespeople, he wanted to learn sales himself, but then for you. I don't get it. So I was coaching him one-on-one and we did this whole badass framework with him. So he was telling me, so he went to a lead first before coming to us. It's been a week that we have been training. So last week when he went to the call, the exact same scenario happened. So he helps hospitals with this YouTube and video marketing and whatnot. So he basically generates customers for hospitals. So his name is Alok. He helps hospitals with lead generations through YouTube. And what happened was, last week when he went to the clients and they were talking to the client was that, हाँ बताओ कैसे help करोगे वाला, like how can you help me and everything, and he actually lost the control. Somehow he managed to secure another meeting because not all the partners were there. So at least he had the right thought process of telling, hey, you know what, we are just together, why don't we all have a discussion together. So yesterday or day before yesterday, they had another meeting with all the stakeholders of the company, right? And by that time he had learned rapport building, so at least the framing control very fast. So he was giving me the exact like he was telling me how exactly this whole call went with them. So he shared that when he started the call, he did not start by saying, oh, we are so great and everything, and people were like, okay Alok, tell me how you can help. Then he immediately uttered the word that, oh, you know what, I can give you an a la carte of all my services, but do you really think that will help? Because I can quote you 10 lakhs right now, but I don't think a generic standardized pricing would work. That is the whole reason I didn't even send you a deck. In fact, we don't have a deck. What, do you think it will be helpful if we could discuss about the problem at hand and figure out of all the problems that you are facing, especially with lead generation, which is the most crucial one, and I will provide my services for that and just quote you for that so that you pay less and your needle moves faster. Do you think that will help? He did this. And immediately, every one of them broke. One of those stakeholders was the sales guy, basically the sales head, and he faces a lot of objections. So this is basically some sort of a, not hospital, this was a medical equipment manufacturer company, and they had a problem that even Tata and big companies are coming into the picture. So these smaller players, even though they make crores of money, they're still smaller and they don't get that in as Tata and all the Reliance, all these big companies. So what happened was, this guy jumped up. Oh yeah, every time I go, they don't seem to trust me at all. And I saw your videos, and I think by just sending some 1 or 2 minute video beforehand, we could initiate a good conversation. Boom, entry mil gaya usko. And he literally, he did not, the deal is not closed yet, but they have agreed to a proposal call, which will be happening in Monday. So hopefully everything goes well. The same thing happened even with me. So I went to pitch as chartered accountant, okay? And this guy, so if I have to give you some sort of a basic understanding, so this guy purposefully wanted to hold the control to himself. And majority of these service providers have this sort of a thing like, oh, I want to present that I'm the boss. So what they did, they made us wait in the reception for almost 30 minutes. Our call was supposed to start at 11. We were sitting till 11:30. Then his assistant came and took us to his office, and again we had to wait for another 10-15 minutes there. So exactly aisa kuch hua tha, but he made us wait for a lot. Then he comes in a very rushed manner into the office, like, हाँ जयंत कैसे help करोगे बताओ ऐसे करके. He took out his coat and he put it on his chair like this and said, बताओ कैसे help करोगे, how much do you charge? Ab what framing, all rapport building, all framing went out the window at that point, right? What sales script? And yeah, a lot of people know about this, right? I was like, oh yeah, Manoj, you look very tired, why don't you have a glass of water? So I was like, oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, very hot outside, no? Yeah. Don't tell me, it's so hot. I'm also very tired. Cool, no problem, bro. Anyways, coming back to your question and the same thing, right? So what this did was, coming back to the question, I told like, hey, I can quote you for like 10 lakhs right away, but it won't make sense. Why don't I understand your problem, give you the right solution? So the reason why framing is important is because majority of the salespeople are trained to just respond to a customer's answers right away. The problem is when your customer controls the whole call, they control the pitch, they control the price, and they always win the negotiation. You don't have any control. And even if you close a deal at that point, you keep thinking that I closed the deal. No, the customers himself closed the deal. It's not you. None of your sales skill was required. So framing or attaining control, framing is the process of attaining control, right? So how exactly this attaining control happens? So there are multiple types of frame: moral authority frame, price frame, and like you can go very deep into that. But what I've seen work the best in almost every scenario is something called as a price framing. What is price? You have to make your prospect know that towards the end of the sales call, they have something to gain, always, right? So this situation always works, especially in a B2B and B2C scenario, or I mean most scenarios, the only way the moral authority frame works, and you know what is moral authority? The exact frame that we took while selling you guys. So when you joined Remote Closing Mastery, right? In that particular case, people had to apply. We had about some 100 applications, right? And we had a hard limit of 30 or 35. And we only wanted to take people who are serious about learning the skill of sales, not just want to make money, right? So when we went on a call, majority of the time, cool, towards the end, we'll figure out whether we are the right fit for each other or not. So moral authority basically is like, we will basically be the judge of whether we can invite you in or not, and how can we work together. But a price framing is, towards the end of the call, I'll give you this X thing. In most cases, this X thing is this. So let's say, wo nikal gaya ki okay, I like this, whatever. Then you put an agenda to this call. So they say, cool, hey, you know what? We only have 60 minutes together or 30 minutes together, whatever time number. We only have, Deepak, we only have 30 minutes together. So I think it will be better if we could have a structure to this call so that we don't waste each other's time. So why don't we do this? That let me ask you a couple of short and really specific questions and figure out what's really stopping you from whatever, let's say growing your business, generating leads, whatever. And towards the end, we can come up with a game plan together, what works the best for you. And after that, if you feel like learning about my services, I can give you a very customized package that solves that particular problem. Do you think that will work for us? This is called framing, right? So you can do this even for a B2C scenario. Let's say you are selling, a lot of our B2C clients are in the health space. So let's say you are selling a fitness coaching program. And very simple as that. Cool, man, I see, so rapport building ho gaya, what attracted you? They came on a call and now you are talking and you're simply asking, you simply ask them like, hey, you know what, Shekhar, I think it will be great that if we discuss what are the challenges that you are facing because of a possible ill health, and then come up with a roadmap that fits your lifestyle and you can implement it faster without just getting you a custom, standardized game plan जिसके लिए तुम्हारे पास time हो नहीं हो, accountability की ज़रूरत है. I just want you to happily lose weight. So in this regard, I'll just ask you a couple of short and specific questions. We'll come up with a structure, routine that you can follow. And then after that, if you want to learn more about our training, I'm more than happy to tell more about it. Does that seem fair? It can be done with any case, by the way. It can also be done for a business scenario. So why don't we understand your business? Where exactly are your choke points which are stopping you from generating leads on your own? And then we can figure out something that works for you, and then I can show you how we can build this whole system. Does that work for you? That's there. In terms of, let's say we are selling Sunil ka product. Sunil's product is, he sends kids abroad, the education part. The framing in that case would be, I have to write this down, but it would be most like, so we first asked what attracted you to the call, they say blah, blah, blah. And the framing would be more like, cool, Kiran, so I think you have a lot of background, you have done a lot of research and you are still facing a lot of problems, especially with the immigration and whatnot. So why don't we do this? Let me ask you short and specific questions, because we barely have 30 minutes together, and figure out what is the best route and probably the best way and best strategy for your kid to go abroad, which country to go for, what kind of university to go for, what scholarships would be best for them. And then possibly I can talk about my services that work the best for you. Do you think that will work? Something like that, and slightly in an empathetic tone we can add. So let's say somebody says, we said like, okay, what attracted you to this call, or what attracted you to our ad? They say, I have been trying to send my kid abroad for so much time. You can simply say, oh, I totally understand, it must be really tough, isn't it? They say, yes. Gotcha, man, I totally understand. As a parent, it's probably the biggest thing that you look for in a child, right? So why don't you do this? Let me understand your background a little bit, your financial status, your kids' academic qualification. Figure out a good game plan that you guys can possibly use. Slightly confused at this point, and then we can, you can pretty much take that and use it for yourself. And then if you agree, we can obviously talk about how our solutions can work for you. Does that seem fair? So first half is slightly more empathetic. Towards the end, we are acting confused. What this does, it also opens the parents up, because there is a benefit that they can look forward to towards the end. So that's there. Next part is called demystifying the gap. Now the way I visualize a sales call is pretty much this. Where did we go? This part. This is the way I see every sales call go. Everybody has a current state and everybody has a desired state, and whatever we have is called the gap. But the problem is, most of the time people think that the gap doesn't exist. Our brain is very efficient at suppressing pain, I would say. I'm going through a psychology course right now, so I'm understanding these things a lot. Our brain is extremely good at suppressing a lot of pain. For example, if you hit your knee somewhere, right, even if it hurts, you feel like सह लेंगे थोड़ा, चलता तो है, right? So let's say you are driving, you are on a very long drive and you are pushing the accelerator, your leg is constantly juggling between your accelerator and your brake, and there is a clutch that you have to keep pushing, and eventually it kind of hurts your knee, but you feel like, अरे यार और 100 किलोमीटर बच गया है, we'll reach there in an hour, let's just push it, right? So our brain thinks in those terms. Even if there is a pain, our brain hides the fact that this pain, and it tries to ignore it as much as possible. Again, the croc brain kind of comes into picture sometimes. If it is not an urgent pain, if it is an urgent pain, you would go and search on Google, you will find out a solution. So that's there. But sometimes some parts of the pain definitely are suppressed by our brain. So your job as a salesperson is to uncover that. There is a mist around this whole scenario, this gap. And our job is to demystify that, to make them visualize how big is the gap, right? And this visualization is done when they start speaking to us. In the last session, I shared this, right? So there was this podcast by Simon Sinek and Tom Bailey where they talk about why you should not be saying bad things about yourself, and why you should not be obviously writing bad things about yourself, because everything that you say out loud, it resonates 4 to 7 times in your head. Everything that you write out, it resonates 10 to 15 times in your head, right? So similarly, when in a sales call, when somebody talks about a problem, it's not just that you are becoming aware. You are obviously aware about the pain. The prospects became self-aware about the problems, the desires that they want to go for. Okay? It has to be done in a certain way. So this step is called demystifying the gap. The demystifying the gap starts with the current state and the desired state, right? We'll have some set of questions to ask, especially to uncover the current state. We'll have a certain set of questions to ask to uncover the desired state. So it's not just medium pain, by the way. So a lot of people think that the pain is only this much. A lot of the time it's like there are multiple pains stacked on top of each other, by the way. For example, if I talk about the knee pain thing, there is an old guy who has a lot of knee pain. ठीक है? अब next क्या आएगा? Oh, I have a lot of pain in knee because of driving a lot of car. सह लेंगे थोड़ा वो चल रहा है. Then I can ask like, how is it affecting your life? Well, I can't run. I used to love running, but I can't run now. I wanted to play with my grandkids, but I can't even lift them up. It hurts me so much. These are the unsaid pain that they usually ignore. पेन जो फिजिकली हो रहा है वो दिमाग को दिख रहा है, वो इमोशनल पेन नहीं निकलता. सो ऑल दिस थिंग्स वी नीड टू ब्रिंग आउट ऑलवेज, राइट? सो देयर वी गो. So there is a client with me who, his niche is a very awesome niche, very high ticket niche, and it's a very critical niche. जहाँ पे relationship is, if it is not built well, then you lose the deal completely. So what he does is like he helps equipment manufacturing plant owners with some operation systemizing, like they have this conveyor belts and whatnot, right? So they put the right people at the right place and they optimize their productivity overall. So output increases because of that. When output increases, these manufacturers can take more deals and they can supply more stuff and make more money. That's the whole angle. So what happened with this guy is like he understood everything. हमने दबा के role play किया था. Like we normally do like 3 to 4 role plays. With him we did almost 10 role plays to make sure that he doesn't suck at the sales call. So what happened yesterday, day before yesterday, we were on the call reviewing his sales call. So the prospect arrived 20 minutes late to the call, and that pissed this guy off. So he let that whole thing get under his skin, because of which he started the conversation by asking, "You are 20 minutes late to this call. Are you really serious about your business?" Dude. He lost patience, and when that happened, the prospect got irritated, right? And he didn't say it in the right tone also. He was agitated. You could see this visually. He did not do any sort of framing that we'll figure this out together, whatnot. No. He's like, "Are you serious about this pain at all? You are 20 minutes late to the call," as if he was interrogating. And the whole sales call, even if you followed the script, it became more of an interrogation, not a partnership. And when sales is not a partnership, it's not a sales call, right? So the prospect has to feel inclusive in the whole process. Otherwise, it becomes just another sales call. Just talking shit, and that's pretty much it. So that was the bad example. So don't do that. So and it's also very important. There will be a lot of times when you will feel triggered. There is no way you will not feel triggered in a sales call. It happens. It's just that you need to develop that thick skin to not take that thing emotionally or personally, right? So yeah, just to let you know a good example. Another one, there was this agency owner in Odisha. So his rapport was not rash, but he never would lose control over the sales call. He would never, his skin is thick, but he somehow appeared very needy. You know how that neediness feels like? Girls will understand when they get hit on in this Hinge and Twitter, right? So that neediness always pushes people away. If somebody is too needy, you also don't like to talk to them, right? So with him, what happened was, one of his sales calls that I was understanding, he was always smiling. For some reason, he asking pain questions. He's like, "How is that affecting you personally?" Like, and it feels like he wants the deal to be closed as much, he wants the deals to be closed as fast as possible. Surprisingly, we also did the sales call review very recently. Almost like 3 months I've been training him, and on Thursday when I saw his sales call, I was pleasantly surprised. He became very neutral on the sales call. So neutral as in, he was even willing to walk away from the deal. He showed me some phone call recording that he had. I mean, he didn't have a Zoom call because he meets people personally and everything. So one of his prospects actually called him, and this prospect was apparently traveling. So he said, "Oh, Deepak, I'm also talking to a bunch of vendors right now. Why don't you send me your deck?" So earlier he used to say, "I'll send you a deck, sir." Then he keeps on following up, and that's how he used to take care of this sort of situations. But Thursday को जो call मैंने सुना, he clearly mentioned, so it was a salon business owner. He has a chain of salons, some international franchisee and everything. So when this guy said, "Oh, why don't you send me your deck and I'll revert back?" He said like, "You know what? I don't even have a deck to send you. do you really think a deck with like a restaurant menu will work for you? Because you see, I can give you a social media quotation, I can give you a performance marketing quotation, LinkedIn quotation, तेरे को जो चाहिए मैं दे दूंगा. But the problem here is, one, you would not know what works for you, and it will also create a lot of confusion. And I'm assuming you came to me because you have already burnt your hands in some sort of with an agency, right? This opened the prospect of, oh yeah, don't tell me, we lost a lot of money but didn't get any result with the last vendor and whatnot. Then he's like, I get it. And you know what the reason is? You'll probably see a list of items that you can do, and they don't even promise on 20% of the things that they they promise you. They don't deliver on even 20% of the promises that they made. So why don't we do this? I don't really send any decks or whatnot. Why don't you come back from your trip, and maybe we can get on a call. It won't be more than 30 minutes, I promise, and come up with a game plan, and probably then discuss which exact service can help you the best. If not, I can give you some of my references. We can send you as many decks as you want, and you can deal with them. This is exactly what he shared, and I was so impressed with that. I was like, proud teacher moment aa gaya tha wahan pe, because he was willing to walk away from that deal. He was not operating from a place of scarcity. He was operating from a place of, I would say, you need me. It's more like this, right? If you have a brain tumor and you go to a neurosurgeon, right? And that neurosurgeon won't care how much money you have in your bank account, because they know the problem more than you know the problem. They know more about the brain than you know, right? So they would never hesitate before like, hey, मेरे पास time नहीं है, तू जा कुछ कर ले. They will have that kind of an attitude, right? Like, I don't need you, well, attitude. This neediness was reduced by a lot. And when he did that, guess what happened? This guy is coming back on 15th. The prospect said, oh, what you are saying is right. I don't want to do the same mistake again. Let's do a meeting on 15th. Please come to my office on that day at this time. So I'm 100% sure he's going to do a fabulous job right now with his deals, because oh, by the way, to show you a case study of how great the sales process works, when this guy came to us needing help, they were losing 5 lakhs every single month. So minus 5 lakh pe chal raha tha unka, with employee salaries and whatnot. This year they're closing at 5.5 crores this year alone, all because of a robust sales process. Now the founder learned it. Now they have hired us to train their team, build a team. So I will be hiring a lot of you guys there as well. So yeah, there we go. There we go. I just showed you the gap. Now let me show you how exactly this gap is created. So I'll remove this. So I have added some checkpoints, and I'll show you how these checkpoints relate to the beliefs that I shared earlier. Okay? Now, the gap is created by two things, right? It looks something like this. There is a current state, there is a desired state, and there is mist all over, and you have to demystify this whole thing. Make sure that the gap is visible to them, and this is built by them understanding where they are right now, what are the pain that they are facing, and what is the dream, ambition, or the goal that they want to go through. We call it future pacing, which I'll tell you in a bit. Now, the tone that you have to kind of switch between is confused and concerned in both current and desired situation, even in the amplification gap. So you have to act confused and concerned. Concerned means confusion with a little bit of empathy, right? So how do we ask current situation? So this is the same question. What made you book this call? What attracted you to this call? So this you can add in the beginning also, the same thing. Or you can start with this one. So framing ho gaya. So say we'll talk for the next 30 minutes. I'll ask you some short and specific question. We'll have a prize at the end. Do you agree? They say yes. Then you can simply ask. So with that being said, so Shekhar, what's the biggest challenge that you're facing health-wise? Confused, right? Or it can be like, with that being said, what would you say right now is the biggest challenge? So emphasize on this word, biggest challenge, when it comes to X. And you can say when it comes to generating business. What's the biggest challenge that you're facing when it comes to sending your kid abroad, right? So when you ask about these challenges, you get the challenges, right? Now at this point, some people are like, oh no, there is no such challenge. Oh, but you're in this call, so there must be something that is not working the way it should. Am I correct? So what's really not working the way it should? Right? See, challenges or the pain points are always two ways. One is either I don't have a six, I'm fat, I want to go become thin, or I'm already thin, I want a six pack. Right? So either current pain or future pain. Right? So in this case, when you ask what are the biggest challenges that you are facing, or roadblocks, I call it, that you are facing when it comes to whatever they want. Roadblocks when it comes to sending your kid abroad. Roadblocks what that you are facing when it comes to losing weight. Roadblocks when it comes to generating business. I'm giving non-business examples because मेरा script business में भरा हुआ है. When you hear these non-business examples, you know how it can be customized for different businesses, not just one business, right? I've also done it for the SaaS businesses, by the way, where everything is standardized, right? So what this does, this question, because at this point you have attained control, you have built a feeling of inclusiveness, people become more inclusive at this point, right? They start talking about, yeah, so you know what, I have been having this XYZ problems. Then you go deeper. Sometimes people might say, I don't really have a problem as such, I'm just curious how I can grow the business. Or let's say, I'm just curious how I can get to that six-pack thing. Or I'm just curious how I can send my kid abroad, or I'm just curious how I can improve my relationship. I'm fighting with my wife a lot. I don't know, figure out, right? In that case, you can say, so seems like I'm glad that everything is working well. So what's really not working at the level it should be, which is why you are on this call? So अगर challenge में response अच्छा नहीं आया तो ये वाला question पूछना है. What is the biggest challenge? Alternatively, what's not really working at the level it should? See, expression देख रहे हो मेरा? You mark this, it's like this. Like, what's really not working at the level it should? So, what this does, it builds that whole feeling. I'll probably take a longer session about body language, but आज script पढ़ते हैं. So, ये हो गया. If they say there is no problem, what's not working at the level it should, and then you can simply say, why do you think that this is the biggest challenge? So let's say, I would say, doctor's look. yeah, I stole that from the doctor, by the way. So if I have to say, so what's the biggest challenge that you are facing when it comes to growing the business? They say, oh, leads नहीं आ रहे यार, like leads भी नहीं आ रहे, sales भी अच्छी नहीं हो रही. Oh, acha. So, why do you think leads is the biggest challenge though? Again, so confused. मेरे को नहीं पता तेरे को कैसे help करूँगा. That should be the feeling, right? So, why do you say this is the biggest challenge? Or let's say, oh, Jayant, let's say you are building systems for everyone. They say, oh, Jayant, I'm like doing 12 hours of work every day. I cannot really handle clients right now. And then you can be like, oh, why do you say that though? Handling clients meaning? By using these deeper probing questions. They say, oh, I'm not getting any leads. Really? Tell me more about, what do you mean by not getting leads? This works very well. And can you give me a specific example of, what do you mean? Can you give me a specific example when you faced an issue when you didn't have leads? If it is like losing weight, it can be like, oh, I'm feeling very anxious. I'm not able to lose weight. My marriage is coming. Oh, can you give me an example of how it has affected you when it is losing weight? And in the process of giving that example, they relive that pain. That's the whole point. We want them to relive that whole pain at this point. Sometimes you can restate their whole statement as a question. Like they say, weight gain is stressful. Weight gain is stressful? Stressful? Something like that, right? Why do you say that though? And why is that important to you? Let's say, leads nahi aa rahe. Really? Why do you say that though? And why leads are the biggest challenge? Or why is that important to you? Or use it as per your knowledge. I use this scene a lot. Has that put you in a tough position? Has that ever put you in a tough spot? Somebody says, weight gain is stressful, anxious, and they say, oh, my marriage is coming and whatnot. God, yaar. So, has this weight gain thing, has that ever put you in a tough spot? And I also ask this question a lot, which is, and how does that make you feel? When they say that it is stressful, that is the feeling itself, but I want to bring these feelings out as well. I want to label that whole feeling as much as possible, right? So how does that make you feel? Oh, I feel A, B, C, whatnot. And at this point, when you understand a little bit about their pain, before going deeper into this pain, you can ask certain questions called as situation questions. Now, situation questions honestly don't have a lot of, wait, give me a minute. So, situation questions, they don't have a lot of responsibility when it comes to sales. Situation questions are the questions about your current, how the current processes are operating for your customer. For example, how does your lifestyle look like if you want to lose weight? How many hours do you work? What kind of position that you are working in? अब इन सब चीज़ों का सेल्स पे डायरेक्ट कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं पड़ता, बट दे गिव यू सर्टन इनसाइट्स इनटू योर कस्टमर्स बिजनेस व्हिच यू कैन कनेक्ट विद द पेन पॉइंट्स. ठीक है. Now, by saying situation answers, let's say you ask somebody, how many employees do you have? They say 20 employees. Huh, got it. That doesn't create any sort of pain, right? But you can use this to connect to a pain. Let's say 20 employees. And how do you manage the whole show though? You get my point? So, situation questions, you don't have to ask all the situation questions in the world. You have to ask just enough for you to understand how can you connect to the pain. यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस चाहिए होता है टू कनेक्ट टू द राइट काइंड ऑफ पेन. आई हैव इन द पास्ट वन आई एडेड अ लॉट ऑफ situation questions that you can pretty much copy. So this is what services do you provide and all this. Where are you located? How do you differentiate yourself from the competitors? So when you ask these questions, you get a lot of this sort of, you can connect it back to the whole problems, right? You can dig out more problems this way. Now, here you go into something called as checkpoint number 2, pain extraction. Now, all this while, by the way, so out of all the 7 checkpoints, there is one checkpoint, uske liye tum questions nahi pooch sakte, which is the trust, right? You build the trust with the prospects not by asking a bunch of questions, but by the way you ask questions, by the sense of inclusiveness that you bring, right? So there is no separate question for asking, building trust, but the tonality matters a lot. In fact, in the first 5 to 7 seconds, your prospects start judging you on whether they can talk to you or not. For the rest 6, you can ask certain questions. So यहाँ पे we go deeper into the pain extraction. So you see, this is the first belief that I talked about, the problem, the pain. We got something about the pain so far, right? अब उसको खरीदना है. We got one wound, we have to like dig it deeper at this point. So we asked earlier, what made you book this call, or let's say, what's the biggest challenge? They say, okay, leads. Now they say, this many employees. Cool. So 20 employees. How many customers do you have again? X. And if you don't mind me sharing, what's like the average numbers that we are making in revenue wise? Got it. So I barely make like 10 lakhs a month. 10 lakhs and 20 employees. How are you managing this? I don't know. We are barely breaking even. I'm not profitable. These things come out. Then we go deeper. We go deeper into pain extractions. How do we extract pain? So there are multiple ways. First one is how long you have been facing these challenges. So how long have you been facing these challenges? Like how long have you been aware about this lead generation challenge? They say, let's say 2 years. 2 years. And how does that make you feel? This is DPQ combined with that thing. And I have to act a little bit surprised. 2 years. And how does that make you feel? This is the tone and this is the question, right? You can then widen the gap using all sorts of deeper probing questions here. And has that, in the 2 years time, has that ever put you in a tough spot? This is something, right? Or again, you don't have to ask all the questions, just ask enough that is important, right? What would have happened if you started sooner? And or let's say they say lead generation is the problem. I have been doing it for 2 years. Oh, and other than the obvious ones, what does this being stuck in this situation cost you? Because earlier you mentioned it's stressful, right? Tell me more about that. So bring pain points that you have gathered here to this particular pain. So what this does, it extracts more pain, right? We want to make this whole thing clear. And I tell you this, the whole conversation might become a bit difficult when you are doing it with the prospects. And it's okay. It's your job to have difficult conversations, because no one in the world will have difficult conversations with your prospect. Only you. So you have to show them that reality, right? A lot of people are afraid of asking difficult questions. And I tell you this, if you don't ask this sort of difficult questions, you will never ever be successful in sales. They have to realize their own pain point. It's not going to be a walk in the park, right? And especially when you're asking really emotionally or certain questions that could remain private, you can ask this particular framework. I call it the PCA framework, permission, context, ask. And I can't tell you how much this framework has helped me save my relationships. Saved me from so much fights with my girlfriend, now wife, because sometimes you need to have difficult conversation. So anytime you have to ask a difficult question, like what is your revenue, right? And how does that make you feel? Or you can be like, has that put you in a tough spot or something like that? Or you have to ask something really ugly, some really ugly questions like, getting fired from the client, how does that make you feel? Something like that, right? So when you have to ask ugly questions, we use this framework called as permission, context, ask. So you take a permission saying, can I ask you an honest question? And it might hurt a little bit. Now we are setting this context that it might hurt a little bit. Context, why did you ask such a question? The reason why I'm asking is because X. So with that being said, question. Giving you an example, let's say for a business owner, you have to ask them how much revenue they're making. So can I ask you an honest question? They say yes. So if I'm not sounding too intrusive, is it also affecting your personal life, health, mindset, work-life wise? That is one question, right? This is like, I would say, we can also add something on top of this. We can say, can I ask you an honest question? The reason I'm asking is for business owners like us, again trying to include, and for business owners like us, our business is not just a separate entity. It's also a part of our life. And when something happens to the business, oftentimes we also feel not so great. So has this lack of business ever affected you in other areas of life, like personal, health, relationship wise? Now what this does is, because there is a context asked to this, people start opening up a lot. You cannot directly go and say, oh, has this ever affected you health wise, personally, right? That doesn't work. Or let's say you are in the health coaching space, you are selling a health product. In that particular case, you can simply ask, so can I ask you an honest question? The reason I'm asking is, well, our physical health and mental health are not very different. So anything happens with the body or body image, we also start seeing some sort of we see ourselves in a very negative light as well. It's something that I've experienced. So has this sudden weight gain and not being able to look pretty in the mirror, has that affected you in other areas of life, emotionally or career wise? Now that surface level pain will start bringing in more emotional pain. Like I told you, right? There is a surface level pain and there are emotional level pains. This context will bring in that emotional level pains out. And when I show you how the pitch works, I'll connect all these pains back into the pitch, so that it feels like, oh, ye mere liye bana hai. Okay? That aha moment will happen tomorrow in the next session. Okay? Next, you can also ask, like, just so that I can understand, to help you better, how much are you making right now? That is a question that you can ask. It's a difficult question again, but if you add like a context to it, it works well. Next, third checkpoint is doubt injection. See, I told you about this particular feeling called doubt, right? So you have to also install a doubt in their head that they can't do it on their own. It's not like you can directly inject a question in their head and simply ask, like, do you doubt? No. So the way I ask doubt injection is this. So Seychelles, you look like a smart lady. You have figured a lot of things out. So what really stopped you from figuring out a solution on your own? तो खुद क्यों नहीं कर लेता, right? So I asked this question a lot. So Shekhar, you look like a smart guy. I mean, you could have watched YouTube videos before learning sales. So why come to me at all? Why look for a solution? Now then your prospects start saying, these are the reasons why I can't do it alone. And majority of the time, these are one of the two reasons. One, I don't know how to do it, or I can figure out how to do it, but I just want an expert's help so that I can move faster. One of these two responses you get during the doubt injection process, right? And every person in the world has doubt. I can't tell you that somebody does not have a doubt. They have some doubt. We just have to make it out, bring it out, right? So, दोनों clear हो गया? Pain, belief broken and built. Doubt, belief broken or built, whatever they say. Some people are very egoistic. हाँ हम खुद figure out कर लेंगे. There are people who say this, legit. So why come to me at all? No, Jayant bhai, I can figure it out myself. Like, good, that's awesome. But what took you 2 years? Because you asked a time frame question earlier, right? They said, oh, I've been facing this problem for 2 years. But it took you 2 years to come to here? So I don't get it. Be very confused and they say, but you know what? I felt like if I just work with you, it just will go faster. There we go. So I help you go faster. That's the answer that we just brought out, right? Next is called effort analysis. By the way, you can go through these are the same questions. Effort analysis, that means, so you know how a lot of people give this objection that, you know, the other agency is giving me the same service at 5,000 rupees. Somebody else is willing to do it at cheaper, right? I don't like that objection at all. I don't even want to glorify by giving such an answer to that objection. So I asked this question. So you have been facing this for so long. I mean, have you taken anybody's help so far? See how concerned I look when I'm asking this question. So have you taken anybody's help so far while solving this XYZ problem? Now what this does is you pretty much get the idea, right? Now they start telling, oh yeah, we hired that agency, they didn't work well, you know, they charged this much. Really? So what went right there and what specifically went wrong in that particular call? Now by asking this question, you make them open up. They start bashing all the other agencies and that is your cue. They cannot later on and come, oh, somebody else is giving me at a cheaper price. Like, you only said they don't work. तुम नहीं बोला था भाई. So and there is something called as a law of consistency bias. People want to appear consistent. Hence this also avoids an objection. And legit, if you miss this particular question, I tell you this, people are 100% going to compare you with somebody else. 100%. Yeah. So somebody, they might say, okay, so we ask this question which is like, have you reached out to anyone to get help in the past? They might say yes. How was your experience? What worked and what didn't work? Let's say they never reached out to anyone in the past, right? So, interesting. So what really prompted you to reach out to now after all this time? Like, why not just, you know, keep doing what you do? Now this is also something like, why take action now? Why not earlier? Right? Now two outputs can come out at this point. Like, oh, I tried on my own, I burnt my hands, now I need expert guidance, or I could not find somebody like you. There we go. We became the only choice right away. Like, अब मेरे को बताने भी नहीं पड़ा कि we are the best choice for him. They only say, I could not find somebody who specializes in my niche and has this kind of an offer. Like, awesome. So this is where you diffuse that objection as well and you build this whole belief. Among here we got problem, doubt, it kind of falls into this doubt belief at this point. Next, oh, by the way, sometimes people give you very detached, indifferent answer which has nothing to do with this question and you feel like the urgency is lacking. So in that particular case, you know, there are some people who will be like, हाँ कर लेंगे ये, I was just curious, something like that they will say, which is like very detached, as if they don't care, right? So in that case, I just ask them like, why reach out to somebody after all this time? Like, you know, I have been doing these calls a lot and what I understand is a lot of the people are proactive who try to solve a problem very, very fast and some of the people just push it down the road. So I get a different vibe from you. You seem like somebody who is very proactive, but I just want to ask, like, what is motivating you to fix this problem now, and why not just push it down another 2 years? Now they start opening up again, right? Sometimes people just I would say, go over the sales calls. They keep rambling about some nonsense, and you have to bring it back like this. Checkpoint number 5, authority identification or support belief. So whether they have a business partner or not, or if it is a B2C product, it's usually the spouse, right? So the kind of questions I ask is like, let's say it's a business thing. I ask like, hey, so what do your partners think about this situation? Do you guys have partners? Yeah, right? If it is a spouse thing, if I'm selling this study abroad thing, right, I can simply ask, what does your wife think about the situation? Is she also in, she wants to send the kid abroad, right? And you guys are both facing this problem, is this challenge of finding the right university, the right program and whatnot. Does she know that you are on this call with me trying to figure out a solution? What does she think about me? So now we try to ask these questions and nobody gives a negative response. So they usually say, oh yeah, she is in, I'm here. If you also, there is also a chance that they might say, oh, they don't know, I'm here talking to you, and then I'll let them know. In that particular case, try to rebook another meeting after the first half is over. Do not pitch on the same call, because then they will not understand. In the worst case, if the wife is also not available or the husband is not available, then you can pitch. It's not like you should not pitch. In case the other partner is not available, then only you pitch. If you can figure out another meeting where you can present the whole solution together, that helps a lot, right? If all the partners are in, it's easier, which is why when all the decision makers are not here on the call, I try avoiding the pitch unless it is like absolutely critical. We have a real estate client, not real estate client, so this is a service agency. They build 3D visualization, this 3D drawings of all this real estate buildings and whatnot. In their case, Hiranandani nahi aane wala tumhare paas, right? So there is no way this guy is going to come, but marketing manager will come. So in that case, what can you do? You have to pitch, but you have to pitch in a certain way, which I'll cover in the objection handling session. Awesome. Next is called desired situation. Abhi yahan tak humne pain khurid liya. We have figured out so many things, like not so many things we have figured out at this point, right? In this particular case, we have figured out what is the problem, how long they have been facing the problem, how does this problem make them feel, what are they trying to fix it. If they are so smart, why can't they figure it out on their own? Have they reached out to anyone else to solve this problem? Now we got so many answers, so much data at this point alone. Now you have to go to this particular part, which is like, if this problem is solved, where do they see themselves? Right? This is the next checkpoint. Oh, यहाँ पे by the support का भी question हमने पूछ लिया. Is your wife in? Is your partner in? All those things, right? Now next is something called as the desired situation, which is like, once you have isolated the pain, now you want to see where do they want to go. Now this is where the real gap is generated, right? So let's say, typically I say like this. So got it, Sejal. So let's say you and I start working together on your health. What would be an ideal situation? How does that look like for you? In business case, I don't ask for ideal situation. In business case, I ask a realistic situation. I don't ask like, 10 lakh rupees we want to make like 1 crore right now. I don't do that. I say, what's the realistic goal for you 6 months down the line? But in a B2C scenario, I ask for an idealistic scenario, because B2C calls are very, very emotional. B2B calls are very, very logical. So B2C customers, they think very emotionally. So for them, an ideal situation, Ram Rajya is what works. For B2B, they need a realistic situation, because they're very smart, they're very logical, they're very calculative, right? If it is a business offer, always ask like that. If it is a emotional offer, like study abroad is one, fitness is one, relationships are one. So how would an ideal relationship look for you? How would an ideal health look for you? What would you accomplish by losing all that weight? This is the thing. In case of a business opportunity, if I'm telling somebody, oh, I'll help you build like a coaching program, you'll make so much money, right? So how much money would you need to make to comfortably quit your job? That's what I would ask, right? Now I got a surface level desire. I want X number of things, right? Now what this X number of thing will do for you is something that will go deeper at this point. And don't worry, it won't be as deep as the pain extraction process. It is very simple. It's like, Getting to this number, let's say losing that extra 5 kgs of weight, what would that do for you personally? So not like this, I have to add the tonality. It can be like, so Vivek, losing that extra 5 pounds of weight. So Vivek, you mentioned that you're stressed out because of the weight gain that happened, and you want to get to, let's say, 75 kgs from 85 as soon as possible. So getting to 75 exactly, like, what would that do for you personally though? So if you have done rapport building and the tonality right, people will start showering. So let's say the first question is, gotcha. So let's say you and I start working together today, I show you how to solve this challenge. Solve this challenge को और personalize कर सकते हो. Gotcha. Let's say you and I start working together today and I show you how to lose weight efficiently or how to improve your relationship with your wife. Then ultimately, what's the goal? This is a very open-ended what's the goal question, right? Some people might not understand this. Some people might say, I don't understand. So you can be like, so how much would you, in that question, what would an ideal relationship for you look like though? That's something. So you can ask either this question or this question. Now whatever answer they give, you go deeper using again the DPQs. I have shared some desire specific DPQs here. So for example, somebody says, I want to make 1 crore a month. Like, really? That's awesome. So what would getting to that 1 crore do for you though? Now they start talking about why that desire is important. I asked this question to somebody. So they were making about 5 lakhs a month and they wanted to go to 10 lakhs a month. This person said, like, oh, I'm a big traveler, dude. Like before marriage and starting the business, I was so happy. I was traveling all over the world. I was a freelancer. ये शादी करके फिर company खड़ा करके I'm stuck to one place. I want to go back to New Zealand, go on a bike trip. Oh, that's why you want to make money. Nobody wants to make money just for the sake of making money. I tell you this. Right? Nobody wants to do that. There is a deeper desire. For me, I want a Mercedes G-Class, G-Wagon, absolutely, AMG edition. Like, tell me about it. I rode that once. I became a big fan of that vehicle. मेरे को उसके लिए चाहिए. But more than that, everybody has a deeper desire why they want to do something, why they want to lose weight, right? So that why is important for you guys to bring out. And this is exactly what we go ahead and dig out in this whole process. And it can, by the way, it's not just money. It can be relationship, health. तुम कोई भी product उठा लो. There is always an emotional angle to it. The more emotions, the better. In case of B2B, however, this emotions might change slightly based on business owner to business owner. Some business owners are really open. They talk about their feelings out loud. Some people are reserved. वहाँ पे you can't do really much. So in that particular case, I have asked this question to one more person who was not very emotionally open. So they said very clearly, यार देख मेरे employees मेरे साथ बहुत time तक हैं. It was a yoga teacher who loves doing yoga. For him, he was doing well. But he wanted to pay his employee more because his employees quit like big IT jobs to join him in this whole yoga thing. And they are barely making 30,000-40,000 rupees. And he genuinely wanted his employees to get paid well, right? So his desire was like, I don't care about me, but I genuinely want my employees to grow well and I want their life to be happier, which is why I want new help. So that's a good, very noble thing to do, right? So this sort of desires usually come up. So that is the reason why he was asking for money. So basically that's the same thing. Why that number? What does that change for you exactly? So getting to this weight, ultimately, how does that help you personally? And how does achieving this number help you anything other than business, I mean personal life wise? So how does reducing 10 kgs of weight help you anything other than health, I mean personal life wise? This one helped a lot. I actually tried this with an international guy. So we did cold email consulting for them. So I asked him, how much do you want to make? So like, I just want to sign some 2-3 clients, make some $20,000-$30,000. Okay. Like, got it, Mark, that's awesome. $20,000-$30,000 is cool. So let's say I write you a check of $20,000 right now and slid you under your desk. So what would you do with that money? I asked this and he laughed and he also opened up a little bit. So slightly playful tone. But I would not use this last question everywhere, but the first one is cool. So one question to ask what is their goal and why is that goal important, and use DPQs to basically validate this goal or like bring out this goal as much as possible. Okay. Now the thing is, final one, I call it amplify the gap, or nowadays I'm calling it amplify the aftermath. So now what happened was you just showed them that the gap is this much. Oh, why is it coming to my face? Let me just do this. Now you have to show them that the gap is not just this big, it is this big, right? This big. So I have to extend this gap. Ye itna nahi hai, itna hai, right? So how does that happen? This is called future pacing in a negative way. Both the exercises are in future pacing. Future pacing is an exercise which helps you make your customer visualize what is going to happen in the future. Now future can be a positive future or a negative future, right? The positive future is what we just learned. Just now we discussed that, which is like, what are the ultimate desires? Negative future, however, is what would happen if we don't change anything about it. That's called negative future. Now let me go ahead and show you how that works. Now it's time to stretch the gap, amplify it even further, ask questions that makes your prospect realize what will happen if the problems that you just talked about are not fixed. This is the most sensitive part about the sales call, and if it is done in a wrong manner, you will lose the deal. So it's very important. So here we add one more difficult questions, which is like, so here I try to take a little bit of blame on myself. I'll be like, so Sejal, can I challenge you for a second here? I ask a question, like very serious one. Can I challenge you for a second here? The reason why I'm asking is, then there is a reason, right? The reason why I'm asking is, honestly, I work on both positive and negative side. You can call me a pessimistic person. But the reason why I believe this way is because as a conscious individual or as a conscious business owner, whatever tag you place them in, as a conscious business owner, you should not be just looking at the positives, you also should be looking at the negatives so that you can avoid all those things, and by just avoiding these things in your growth, your business grow by default. Does that make sense? So as a conscious individuals, especially in case of health and fitness and whatnot, you don't just have to look at the positives but also the negatives, like something might happen, something might not happen. If you just avoid those things, your health becomes better by default and all those desires you previously mentioned. So with that being said, if let's say we don't do anything about this problem that you mentioned, we don't do anything about your weight loss, we don't do anything about your leads, we don't do anything about your relationship, what do you think will happen a year or 2 years down the line? Now we are forcing them to visualize the cost of inaction. What will happen if they don't act at all? अगर problem ऐसा ही रहा, तेरा weight बढ़ता रहा, what will happen 2 years from now? You'll become Anant Ambani, not money wise but health wise. That's worse. पैसा आए तो फिर भी ठीक है, right? Or if you keep on running your business like this, no leads generated, कोई sales process नहीं बना है, where will you go? How will this affect you? Like, oh, I might have to fire my employees, मेरे को quit करना पड़ेगा and all that. Now that is the thing that I want them to bring it out loud and use a lot of DPQs at this point. Whatever answer they give, like, oh man, I might have to quit my job or shut down my business. Shut down your business? Then they say more things, right? So here you basically have to go ahead and go deeper and deeper and deeper into all these questions so that this gap is amplified. And towards the end, you do something called as restatement. Give me like a minute, no? Yeah. You have to restate this once the gap is amplified. We can recap at this point in the next session, but here is the thing. So if I'm correct in understanding, staying in this situation will cost you your business growth. You might have to fire your employees and possibly even shutting down the business. Am I correct? They'll say yes. And then you basically, this is the same thing. So then you transition into the pitch part and the whole pitch next part happens, which is like this, which I'll cover in the next session. Now, as an assignment, I want you guys to do this. Now you understood this. I'll add an assignment in the group in a bit, but just take a hypothetical scenario, sell a product, preferably a consulting, coaching, or a service or based on product, because this works best, right? With a fellow member in the group and do a role play, starting from building rapport till this point. Okay? Pitching part we'll cover in the next session. Alright? That's the assignment. Alright, I think by this time you would have known what we have done. We have understood their pain points, their desires, their their personal level pain points and personal level desire. We have uncovered what will happen if they don't work for the result, the cost of inaction and everything. And at this point, we are gonna transition into the pitch and actually explain how our services look like and how our services can give them best results. So without any further ado, let's get into the pitching session. Now, in today's session, we'll be learning how to pitch. So pitching part comes, and I call it selling the dream. Now, this is as important as the information gathering part, right? So here what we exactly do is like we are giving our solution, but presenting our solution also has to be done in a nicer way. It should not be like, hey, here's a PPT, go watch, figure out. Doesn't work like that. So we have to go ahead and segment our offer in such a way that it becomes easier for us to pitch our product and close our deal, right? So that's exactly what we are going to cover, how exactly to pitch. Now, just like the first half of the call where we had multiple checkpoints, there are 5 checkpoints in selling the dream part, right? Checkpoint number 1 is called 30,000 feet view. I want to imagine the pitch like a bridge. There is a current situation, there is a desired situation. Your pitch is basically the bridge that you connect this whole current to desired situation. Your delivery vehicle is the vehicle that takes them from current state to desired state, and your milestones are the pillars that take them from here to here. No matter what product or service you are selling, this stands true, right? Now, it has 5 checkpoints. 1, 30,000 feet view. 2, the bridge connecting the current state and the desired state. Now that we have uncovered the current state and desired state. Checkpoint number 3, the vehicle. How exactly, what are the things that we will be doing to take them from the current state to the desired state? Checkpoint number 4, we want to understand how hot the prospect is right now. Are they in the buying window or not? If not, we need to handle some objections, the obstacles right here in checkpoint number 4. And checkpoint number 5 will nonchalantly reveal the price, right? So it starts with this checkpoint number 1, which is 30,000 feet view. So now that you have uncovered the current state and the desired state of your target customers, what we need to do is we need to give them a high level overview of how are we going to help them. Clear? High level overview क्या होता है? मोटा मोटी how exactly our solution can help them. This is not the exact solution. This is a very high level overview, and I'll give you an example. So let me open a live sales script of one of our clients. Okay, here we go. Here's the sales script. So same checkpoints like everything else. Selling the dream mein. So this guy does video marketing for hospitals, right? So now in this particular case, how to present the high level overview. So now you understood the current state and desired state, you go ahead and say, so, Jayant, based on what you told me so far, what I do might possibly work for you, and possibly is a keyword. This part you sound confused, and then you shift your tone to a confident tone where you say, based on what you told me so far, what I do might just possibly work for you, because you know how you said that your hospital, you're just depending on newspapers, billboards to get marketing, and you're feeling like they are becoming more and more inefficient, which is ultimately making you feel you're basically losing trust in any of this method. Well, what I do is help people like you with our video marketing funnel that not only helps you build a strong brand, but also generates business. That means patients walk in on a very recurring basis. What that means to someone like you is that you consistently keep getting clients even after months and years of creating these videos. Does that feel like this is something that you might be looking for, so that we can go into the deeper details? This is again confused, right? So this is called sharing a high level overview of the program. In this particular sales script, This particular sales script, sorry, where did I go? This one. Where did I leave? Okay, this one. So based on what you told me, this is the first half, and you can act a little bit confused. What I do might possibly work for you, because you know how you said whatever the pain points they shared in the beginning of the call, which is like the information gathering phase, and you are facing this impact, which is the personal pain that they were facing, which is ultimately making you feel. So the feelings that they mentioned, everything that they mentioned in the beginning, you connect them back into the pitch. This is what makes your pitch very, very personalized, right? For example, in case of Vishal is right now working with a dance coach. For them, the target audience might be somebody who are thoda sa depressed, who might need some help in terms of getting out of that. They want to move their body, become better. So in that case, the high level overview can be as good as, Vishal, how you told me that, based on what you told me, Vishal, what I'm do might just possibly work for you, because you know how you said that you are living a very sedentary lifestyle, and that is kind of impacting your health, which is ultimately making you feel like stuck and you're not feeling good in your own body. Well, what I do is help people like you with our ACD system, which is like Zumba dancing system, where I will help you move your body on a daily basis. And unlike any other exercise, you'll actually enjoying this whole dancing process. And come on, I needless to say that if you keep on doing this for an extended period of time, your body will be healthy. And this kind of becomes a form of meditation or yoga, which you'll actually enjoy. What that means to someone like you is that you'll have a long term benefit. You lose the pound of weight that you always wanted, plus, you'll become more flexible. Does that feel like this is something that you are looking for, so that we can go into deeper details? Everybody would say yes to that, right? I've yet to see somebody who says no to this, because whatever we insert here are the exact things that they have mentioned previously. So here we ask them to get a pen and pad. If not, we also share a proposal in certain cases, but let's go with the pen and pad thing. Sometimes I make people write those whole things. So when it is a Zoom call, you either share a presentation, which people might forget, or we ask them to write it down themselves. And when they write, like I told you, when they say, it resonates 4 to 7 times in their head. When your prospect writes something, it resonates 10 to 15 times in their head. So when I make those people write, it's easier. A lot of the time I just say things and they take it and they get closed. A lot of the times what happens, we share a proposal, it helps. So there are multiple mechanisms, and you don't have to follow the script at this point. You just have to figure out a way to make the pitch. Okay? So you can say, oh, do you have the pen and pad? So you can start writing, note down, just note down 1, 2, 3, something like that, with a good bit of space. Or you can say, if you have a proposal ready or a deck ready, you can share that deck and say, hey, you know what, we have 3 pillars. So whatever slide decks or anything that you create should have like a numbered system. So I'll come to that, why we need that. So human mind easily comprehends whatever we are going to share if we break that down into certain numbers. See, if I have to sell you a fitness coaching program, so what are the things that is needed? Regular workout, sleep, good nutrition, and a healthier habit. But sounds very unorganized, right? But if I say, hey, this is a 3-month program, month 1 will be focusing on cardio, you will slightly start lifting weights, and will not change your diet completely, will slightly change your diet so that you still love enjoying having food, and you are slowly changing the diet, and will focus on your sleep. So once these 4 things are dialed in, you'll probably lose about 2 kgs by the end of your first month, and you'll feel a little bit lighter and more active. And month 2 will do this, and this will result in this. And month 3 will do this, and this will result in this. So that way, when we put phase by phase, month by month, step by step, it becomes very clear in your prospect's head how exactly are you going to take them from the current state to desired state. Okay. In schools, they call it curriculum. In this case, we can call it milestones, we can call it month, we can say phases, we can say steps, anything, doesn't matter. Right? In our case, it was a week by week system. I could have broken it down to month by month system, totally up to you, right? So what I've seen is, like, if you share it in a week by week manner, it's easier for you to like check. Okay, whether you are sharing a slide deck or you are asking your people to write, writing is like one of the most efficient workouts. Like if you ask them to write, hey, you have a pen and paper, bring that, write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll let you know how exactly our program is structured. And when you ask them to write, they actually write. And when they write, they are involved in this whole exercise. And the selling becomes so much more easier. Okay? So that's about it. Second, the bridge, checkpoint number 2. Abhi 30k feet view ho gaya. Then we go to the bridge part. Now here we break down whatever we are selling in 3 to 5 different parts. So here I have done it for 3 parts for an Amazon coach. So I took this from them. For a video marketing agency, it was, I think it's also like 3 pillars. There was one agency where we had 5 pillars. So imagine this like a bridge for your program. For example, now we gave the 30,000 feet overview of how this is going to look like. Now we are building this whole bridge, right? So every pillar is something that we need to define. What does that pillar do? What does that month do? And we need to have a name for that. So when you ask them to write, hey, write building core foundation 0 to 30 days. Okay, so this will happen within 1 month. So your prospect writes, right? Then you can say, so Vishal, how you told me that you are not able to have this problem. So bring all the past pain points, what they have mentioned, which is why those pain points are important, right? In the last session, somebody was asking, is this really important to like ask all these deeper personal questions? Well, yes. Now you're connecting it to the pitch and you're customizing the pitch accordingly. So let's say I say, Vishal, how you said you have tried everything, taken a franchisee, and you wanted to start your own business, but you have always failed, probably because of a lack of a good mentorship. And it's making you feel like you are stuck in this one rat hole and you won't come out. Well, what we do in phase 1 is to यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा advice देना है, where we can say like, well, what we do in phase 1 is to do this. Let's say in this particular case, it's, well, what we do in phase 1 is to help you set up the foundations of your Amazon business or whatever you are selling, right? Foundations of your fitness. And this will help you set up like a very strong baseline so that you never fail again. This includes high level thing like blah, blah, blah. So a little bit of details about that particular phase. And here I covered like, okay, we'll be covering this all things so that you can have benefit whatever they shared in the desired situation, so that you never are confused whenever you are starting a business, and you know exactly what steps to take so that tomorrow you can start a business even when you are sleeping. This will allow you to have more confidence and secure the future of the business that you build. And then we tie down by saying, does that make sense? They'll say yes. So what are your thoughts regarding this? So what part of this particular pillar made the most sense to you? And we ask them that. So every pillar you will have to explain, how you said you are facing this problem, and because of this problem you are seeing this impact. Well, what we do in this particular step or in this particular phase or in this particular pillar is ABC. This will allow you to get this benefit, and because of this benefit you will get this desire. So every problem has an impact. Every every solution has a desire. We have to connect them both, and in between comes your product ka feature or the benefits, right? Does that make sense? So when you pitch it this way, so there is no way that it doesn't make sense to them. They'll always love that, hey, this is very, very much customized to me, because you are bringing all those past pain points that you covered in information gathering phase and connecting it here. Then your offer becomes like a no-brainer offer for them, right? Because everything that they said, you have a solution for that, right? And if you don't have a solution for that, genuinely say, hey, I cover 3 things out of all the problems you mentioned. This one problem I don't cover, so I'll recommend you somebody who can possibly help you. Be honest, they will actually love that. So towards the end, what we do, tie down. Say like, do you like this whole plan? They say yes. So what specifically do you like about pillar 1? Now they have to answer themselves why they loved that particular phase. And this happens every phase, man. So here what happens, you are not selling to the prospect. The prospect is selling himself or herself onto the product. Remember how I said like you don't sell anything when you don't sell when you convince the prospect. You sell something when the prospect convince themselves. Well, this is where the prospect starts convincing themselves. They start selling you on the product, that why I'm a good fit for this product. They will start saying things like, oh yeah, you know what, I was facing this problem, I think this will really help me. I also have some ideas that I can implement here so that I can have better results. So they start selling themselves on you, and towards the end it becomes a very effortless close. And we'll repeat that every time. So somebody can have 5 pillars, somebody can have 3 pillars. So phase 2 in this particular business, this is another example of the same Amazon business. You know how you told me that you are you are struggling with store launch, and it's very tech heavy, and it's making you feel very nauseous and making you feel very confused on what steps to take. Well, what we do in phase 2 is to help you launch your store with the first couple of products. This includes things like setting up your Amazon seller account, GTIN, listing the product, APOB, all those technical stuff where we will be sitting with you and building this for you, so that you are never alone in this whole journey. You'll always have a coach who will sit with you and help you set up this technical stuff so that you can do it in an error-free manner, which will allow you to have that sense of security that your store will never go down and it will be optimized to the best to make the most amount of money. Do you think that makes sense? Who would say no to that? Right? Similarly, for a video marketing proposal, we come here. What did we do? Second pillar of them was brand building. You know how you told me that all the premium hospitals are attracting the customers even though you have more personalized service, and in some cases you have better services than all the other premium chains like Apollo, and it's making you feel like undervalued because you, even though give good service, you're not getting enough customers. Well, what we do in phase 2 is help you build a strong brand of YouTube and Google overall. That means here we help you publish helpful videos for which people are already searching for, building authority on unique solutions that you have. This is so that you can stand out in the market with an authority built for yourself, and your customers value you and potentially prefer you over your competitors. This will ultimately help you set the foundation for growth. This is exactly what we did for any hospital. So this was a hospital B2B client, right? So B2B means you need a lot of case studies. So we added a lot of case studies at this point. So he said, oh yeah, we did this for NU hospitals. They were struggling with the same problem of not being trusted, and all the big players like Manipal, Aster, Fortis were like overshadowing them. After implementing this street interviews and casual videos, people started to like their content. They got more people calling them, and people started to trust, and people saw the human side of and the obvious side of a hospital, and they feel like NU was more approachable. This allowed them to fill up all their beds in a matter of weeks. Do you think that you will also need something like that? Nobody will say no to that, because now you have a competitor's case study also attached. So be creative at this point, right? You don't have to stick to the script like I mentioned. It's a framework. You always need to have these 5 things: problem, impact, your solution, problem, impact, your feature, solution, desire. And you can add a case study in between to make it even more powerful, just like this guy did. And then you tie it down by saying, does that make sense? Then they will say, yes. What part of this particular thing do you feel like will help you the most? Now they again start selling you on this whole product, right? When the customer starts selling you on the product, you know that you are doing a good job as a salesperson. Now here you have to be very careful, by the way, right? Be very careful about one thing, that if the customer is not open, they give like random answer. Don't just jump into phase number 3. Wait for phase number 2. Like somebody says, it seems like it might get help. So Jayant, you don't sound very confident. You do ask some deeper probing questions. So that what is the real objection? Point is, before the price is revealed, majority, at least 80-90% of objections should be covered. They should not come towards the end. So if you feel like their tone is not confident, they feel like thoda confused, then it's your job that you remove all the confusions regarding phase 2 at that particular point. There we go. Similarly, in pillar number 3, we did the same thing. Earlier you did this, and this is making you feel this. Well, once we got the 2 pillars down, last thing we'll do is start generating leads. And once we have strong foundation, we'll have this lead generation campaigns, free checkups, surveys, anything. And then people will come to you willingly. And we have done it with this hospital. Oh shit, they have again put like a new hospital thing. which will allow you to grow more and possibly open more branches. Does that make sense? What are your thoughts and what part made the most sense to you? I'll tell you this, if you did checkpoint 1 and checkpoint 2 correctly, you will not have any objections. But we are human beings, it's never the perfect thing in the first time. So I recommend doing it multiple times. In the first phase, it's more like high level overview. Second is like what can you expect? Third is like how exactly are we implementing? So by this time your prospect will be like super duper excited. Like he knows that he or she knows like they are getting a lot of results. Now they are willing to see how exactly am I going to get results. So here we cover the exact fulfillment process. So do they get group coaching? Do they get one-on-one coaching? What time of the week do they get the coaching, right? So for example, here we do something like this. Now, in terms of how it is fulfilled and how I'll implement these 3 steps for you is like, I'll give you first the product richer support and supplier support so that these things are sorted out. Secondly, for the legal work, you can have access to our legal partners who can do these things for a pretty low price. It's absolutely optional. Third, once your product is ready, we will help you onboard into Amazon so that you can get it done faster. In case you feel stuck, we will sit with you and do it with you. Fourth, we will help you launch your ads and you can avail 1 call per month directly with our ads team who can guide you through the process. Fifth and the best part, you will have 1 weekly session Q&A with Niveta where you can ask any and all questions, get your doubts sorted and scale faster that way. The best part is that you will get access to all our standard operating procedures in a video format in our LMS so that you can do it on your own and get things done faster. Now, in case you get stuck anytime during the implementation, we can help you through our email support, which is available 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Plus, you can become a part of the top 1% D2C brands in the country where in our Facebook community, where our team and other members are available all the time to help you out. You can ping me personally on WhatsApp in case you face any issue so that I can get you some solutions ASAP. This way, I can help you even if you hit a slump. Does that make sense? Now, you see all these things, nitty-gritty, small things that are needed to deliver in the program is something that we'll cover here. So in our case, I could say, oh, we'll have 16 weekly sessions. It will be a 4-month session, 16 weekly session. And by the end of 16 weeks, you'll become a master salesman. At least you'll have the knowledge about how to do sales. You would have done at least 16 role plays and you would be so much better ahead in sales as opposed to everyone else. Now, if you have any questions, well, we will continue this Q&A session after the 16 week. It's not like we'll end this. We'll have a dedicated weekly Q&A session where you can ask me questions. I can help you answer those. Second thing, whenever I get placement calls, I'll help put it in the group so that you can apply and we can get started with the interviews, right? And in case you have applied for 10 interviews and you did not get selected, I will make sure that you get selected in the next 10 round. If not, you can ask me for your money back. This is the pitch, let's say for RCM. We can do something similar for Alpha Club. I can say you'll get 13 one-on-one calls with me for the next 3 months. And I will personally sit with you, build your sales script, build your lead generation system so that this is on within 3 months. And then you become part of our community where my community sits with you and serves you. And we'll meet twice in a year in the Alpha Club event. In the community, we have live calls every single day so that you are always up to date with the whole process. This is Alpha Club's pitch. So every nitty gritty that is required, we cover in the vehicle part of the equation. If it is a software thing, then you can sell. What are the things that are included for them and how it is going to help them. Now, mind you, it's very important that you don't have to reveal all the solutions that you offer. Reveal the only solutions inside your software, agency or coaching that are relevant to that particular pain point. That way the information is also minimal and they'll grasp things faster. Nahi to information overload ho jayega, so they'll say no. Always. Clear? Awesome. So this is the delivery part, which is the vehicle. Next, we do something called as temperature check. Now, before we reveal the price, the last thing that I would want from a person is that they have a lot of questions, objections, right? I want this call to be as objectionless as possible. So they would have some questions, they would have some doubts in their head that we need to go ahead and clear beforehand. And if all the doubts in their heads are clear, we become the only way for them to proceed further. Does that make sense? Right? So what we do at this point is we simply ask this question. So we ask, does that make sense? What part of my system will work for you the most? Then we do, gotcha, man. So what are your thoughts regarding our whole progress? Or let's just curious in terms of process specifically, how do you feel? And you observe that tonality. If their answer is certain, the tonality is certain, move on, move to the pricing. If you feel like they're sounding sort of underconfident, like, yeah, we might have to try and see, there is no other way, something like that, they will say. And then you bring out this Brahmastra. They say, hey, I hear you. And just to be totally clear, what's really important for me is alignment. I really emphasize on this word alignment. Because when you come in and work with us, we are not just giving you GAN like a course and letting you go. We are rolling up our sleeves and getting in the trenches with you on these things. That means you and I will be battling the challenges that you will be facing in the next 3 months. I mean, our team is all in, so it's really important for us that you feel good about the process. You know what I mean? They'll say yes. Just to be 100% clear, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being giant, you are a scammer, I'm never going to buy from you. 10 being giant, whatever you mentioned is really awesome, you are my brother, I will buy from you. Where exactly do you fall? Now, if they say, oh, I'm a 9 with certain language, move on. If it is 8 or below, then you can say, got it, man, I appreciate your honesty. Just curious, what do you think is stopping you from being an 8, 9 or 10? That is part of objection handling, which we'll be covering later. This 1 to 10 scale is so awesome that it will give you like a tangible score to how good of a sales call you have done. If they say 7, right? Oh, thanks a lot for the honesty, man. So what is keeping you from being a 9 or a 10? Now, whatever objections comes out, or these are called obstacles. Whatever you reveal before the pricing is called obstacle. Whatever you reveal after the pricing is called an objection. So note that down. I have not noted it here. So at this point, you'll get a lot of obstacles. So make sure that all the obstacles are gone up. So how to handle this obstacles or objection is something that I'll cover in the next session. But in this session, just know that if at this point you see like, oh, I need to think about it. I'll need to talk to my partner. Can you increase the number of live sessions? Can you add this feature or that feature? Because I really need this feature. How long the support is going to be available? All these things we need to answer, right? Which I'll be covering in the next session. How to handle these things and how to negotiate for the right pricing is something that I'll cover. Next, final checkpoint is the pricing. So here we make sure that all the questions are done. So we simply ask, do you have any other questions regarding this? Or sometimes I also ask, what other questions do you have regarding this? So if most of the time I have seen, every time I ask, do you have any questions? People will say no. But when I shifted the sentence to, what questions do you have in your mind? So I'm not even asking, do you have any thought? I know you have thoughts, just tell me those thoughts. So when I asked this, people actually started giving real results. So just make sure that all these things are done. And then they say, no, we are all good. Cool, gotcha. So you feel good, no question. So what next? What do you feel we should go from here? So I ask the prospect, where do you feel we should go from here? So I want to hear from their mouth that yes, let's talk about the pricing. So it should always feel like the customer is initiating, but you are basically having a script that initiates the whole thing. So the customers, most of the time they say, oh yeah, let's talk about the finances. Let's talk about the money part. Like, awesome. Let's talk about that. Right. Now here, you have to be very nonchalant. This is where all your confident tonality has to come, right? Do not even give them a shred of doubt. Just be as confident as humanly possible and say, got it. So the way we take you ahead is in 2 steps. Step number 1, there is a fee payment. Step 2, there is a one-on-one onboarding call to give you access to everything that we discussed, right? And I'll personally give you access to this whole system so that you can get started literally tomorrow. So from there on, we are ready to rock and roll. So does that sound good? They say, yes, cool. So the investment to get you to this outcome, so the investment to help you start a 10 lakh per month business is just 60,000 rupees per month. What do you think? And then shut up. And the investment to help you lose the 10 kgs weight in the next 3 to 4 months is just 59,000 rupees including GST. What do you think? And just shut up, because you have just asked the question. They have to answer. Do not mumble, do not fumble, do not over explain why you are charging the price. Just say this one thing in one single go. Sometimes if you have a skeptic audience, you can also have a guarantee. Most of the time people don't have a guarantee. If you have a guarantee, you can also say this. So the investment required for you to help you get this outcome is 35,000 plus GST, and that covers everything. And my bold promise is that if you don't shred at least 10 kgs by the end of this 3 months, you get another 3 months of coaching from me absolutely for free. And if you still don't get results, I'll refund you the whole thing. So then it becomes very much powerful. If you don't have a guarantee, you can still sell. Avoid speaking the guarantee though. Unless you have a very skeptic audience, don't say the guarantee. If the business that you are working with doesn't have a guarantee, then also don't say a guarantee, right? But most of the time without guarantee, you can sell. So very, very confident. It should, it should have that tonality of a doctor, right? Have you ever gone to a hospital for any surgery or any sort of like slightly serious condition? My wife recently had a, food poisoning and stuff. And immediately, like without even batting an eye, the doctor said, "Isko MRI mein dal do." And when I asked for the fee payment in the reception counter, they're like, "Sir, this will cost you like 10,000 rupees or whatever." I don't remember the exact number, but they said, "Okay, this will cost you X amount." They did not even like budge. They did not try to negotiate. "Sir, this is this, and can you please give us this?" No, इतना खर्चा होगा. This is the bill. ऐसा करके bill ही दे दिया मुझे. So that confidence, like they don't care whether the patient dies or not. This is the price that you have to pay, right? So that's the exact confidence that you need to bring. That you know the value of your services, and you know how good this is, and now he needs you more than anyone else. So how does this confidence comes? You say it's like this. So Vishal, the investment required to help you lose that extra 20 kgs of weight in the next 3 to 6 months is just 59,000 plus GST. And my bold promise is that if you don't lose at least 10 kgs in the next 90 days by following my system, I will coach you for another 3 months for free. If you still don't get results, I'll refund you your whole money. What do you think? This sort of confidence should have come, because यहाँ पे थोड़ा fumble कर लिया ना, they will sense it. The human mind is so good at finding this finer details in our body language and our expression, which is why the tonality class was really important. So here you need to be very, very confident and pitch this whole product, right? So what do you think? And then whatever comes from their mouth is either yes, I'm going to enroll, or another objections. Objections, again, a lot of people just over glorify objections. They say that if somebody gives an objection, they don't want to pay us money. No, people definitely want the solution to their problem. It's just that they want to make sure that they are not putting their hard-earned money in a system that doesn't give them that result. So they have that certain concern. Like you guys must have those concerns as well before buying this product, right? Put yourself into the same shoes. Right? So you must have certain concerns. Somebody must have handled those objections for you, and there is a certain place for them. So don't get discouraged if you get objections. Just like everything else, there is a method to handle these objections and negotiate the right quotation for everything, which is something that we'll be covering in the next session. So as a salesperson, sometimes you also need to, you are required to like share a proposal, especially in B2B scenarios. They don't get closed like this. You probably talk to a marketing manager. That marketing manager need to talk to the CEO. That CEO need to get advice from his advisor, something like that. And then the deal get closed. So they need a written document in most of the time. So I don't recommend creating like slide decks and whatnot. I recommend creating simple proposals to share with them. To show you an example, here is what I constitute in a proposal. So this is a proposal for one of the top coaches in the country, right? Now proposal has these elements. Now every proposal is different. I'll not give you one template that this works. I'll give you a template, but but when you write the proposal, you'll realize that every single proposal is different in all over the place. But ultimately, the headlines are pretty much the same in any proposal, right? So the headlines are this. It should talk about your company. If you have a subsidiary product, it should talk about that. Put your case study in the beginning. A lot of people talk about like, hey, here we are so good, we are so bad, we have worked with blah, blah, blah company. Instead of that, just put like your successful clients list, all the biggest case studies in the beginning. And then write a little bit about the company that you are reaching out to. This is the 4 part, which can be ignored till this point. This is like formality part. This has nothing to do with the sales, but a little bit of successful clients and everything definitely helps. Then this is where the sales starts. The challenges. What are the challenges that the business faces? Bullet pointed. Do not do designs, do not do anything. Google Doc proposals work the best. You don't need anything. Google Docs are so much better because everything is in black and white. And like I said, in any kind of sales situation, you don't need to be creative. You just need to be clear. So Google Docs force you to become clear. In fact, in Amazon, Jeff Bezos have banned presentations because the design of the presentations often distract you from the real value. In fact, the leadership in Amazon, they're required to bring in memos to the meeting, like a written document, like 6-page, 7-page, 10-page documents, bullet points to the meeting, because it will force you to think clearly and write clearly, right? And the same thing I want to bring to even sales calls. So you clearly mentioned in bullet point, what are the biggest challenges that the client was facing? In this particular client's case, inefficient sales team, lack of professionalism in sales, scaling challenges, right? Because they don't have a lot of salespeople. What is the aim? Building a sales system that keeps bringing results for this person without their direct involvement, and hire a young and coachable team. Then we give them a proposed solution. So what? This is a challenge. This is the proposed solution. Again, this is the exact transcript, is technically a transcript of whatever we discussed in the sales call, right? Now, the best part of this is I personally use something called as the Fathom Note Taker. It looks something like this. So Fathom Note Taker is completely free, doesn't cost any money, and it's free forever apparently. Let me open up and show you the magic that it does. I'll log in, and setting up process a little bit critical. Wait, I need to log into Excel track. Yeah, but you can find some YouTube videos on how to set this up. And by the way, if you want to join my Fathom, please feel free to click this link and sign up. So let's say so this was a call that happened yesterday. So what Fathom does, it has an AI thing. It not only records the whole call, it also gives like the summary of this whole presentation. And it also gives the transcript. And what I usually do is I copy the transcript and I go to ChatGPT and I paste the transcript. Understand the following transcript and summarize it to me. I do this and it's like, it goes so beautifully well that it reads this whole thing. Jayant Kumar from Pixel Track, Sanjeev Reddy, founder and CEO of technology firm. And then I'll simply ask ChatGPT the questions. Like, what are the challenges faced by this person? And then ChatGPT will give me. I'll just copy that part, put it in my proposal. So simple. Don't even have to bat an eye there, right? And they can ask, okay, what solution did Jayant propose to this particular person? Now, the ChatGPT itself will give you like a lot of bullet points. Then copy that, put it in the proposal, right? So that's what it is useful for. And that's exactly what I did here. And then this part was thought about like written by me. How does this system look like? Whatever system we are selling, how does it look like? So in my case, it's hiring a sales team, sales script building and training and management. What is the scope of work? How exactly are we going to do this? And phase by phase. So timeline is very important for a proposal. What is the timeline of your execution of the program? So week 1, week 2, week 5, week 6. So week by week, I divide the whole thing and what results they get by the end of this week. Then I say, how will we do it? The exact same process, just the sales process, but written in a very clear way. I hope that you guys would have made that correlation, right? It's just written in just a nice bullet point way. It's easier for some people to understand. One-on-one onboarding call. There is an account manager. Once in a week catch-up call. You'll get this progress report. This is a WhatsApp group. what is the pricing of the project? It's going to be 4,50,000 plus GST for the 3 months, and then 15% of the cash collected for the subsequent quarters. And here is our service guarantee. Now this is this guy. There is one more guy, Shunil. Same method, but here I understood his Facebook ads. So here I did not write a lot of bullet points. I actually did some research on his Facebook and Google ads and pitched him a marketing thing. And here itself, I gave them a proposal. Okay, if you put this much ad spend, you'll get this result. If you put this much ad spend, you'll get this result. This is how the funnel look like or the system look like. Then scope of work, timeline, how will we do it, pricing of the project, same for 4,50,000. That's our package rate, and service guarantee. If you don't get this result, we'll refund you this amount of money, right? So this is how we build the proposal. So what I'll do is maybe I can remove the names and everything, and I can give you like a template that you guys can use later on. So it will take me some time. But the point is, when you have a proposal ready, it's just easy. So this proposal calls usually takes a different call. So the first call you do the whole thing from A to Z, starting from like information gathering, pitching and everything, except the price reveal part. So instead of price reveal, you can say, hey, you know what? I need to talk to my team to give you the right quotation. Now that I have your requirements, so can we meet tomorrow so that I can have a proposal ready with me? So when we do this, usually people are willing because they want a custom proposal, right? So next call I present the proposal to them, and then I tell them, hey, you know what? This is the price, and let's see if we can work together. And then objection handling happens in the next call. So it's called a 2-call closing process. So instead of a one single call where you're taking from information gathering, pitching, price reveal, objections, here you are dividing into 2 parts: information gathering and pitching, price reveal and so proposal, price reveal and objection in a separate call. So, and sometimes it also takes 3 calls because they might need to bring their CEO into one more call. B2B calls are a little bit longer because the ticket size is very high. It's like 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs. So that level of deals, when you do, it's slightly longer term sales call process, but eventually you close any deals. So this is the proposal part of the equation. So see you guys next week. The assignment of this session is like, pick a coaching, consulting, SaaS or agency business, do an end-to-end role play. So I'll not ask you to build a proposal or anything, but just do the normal role play and put it in the Google form. You pick your choice. It's an Amazon business, it's a restaurant business, restaurant coaching business, a SaaS product, it's an agency, your pick. Pick a product, find a person in the group and do the role play with them. Okay? All right. You know what? No sales call is perfect. And no matter how much I have tried, I have seen this one thing, that no matter how hard you try, people will still throw objections. Obviously, not all people, and this is exactly why my sales conversion ratio has been like 20 to 30% always. Like that means 70 to 80% people say no to you, and that's normal. But that doesn't mean we should not learn how exactly to handle objections. And that's exactly what I've done. In this next part of the video, I have covered how exactly to handle objections like a pro and recover the money that you possibly lost, right? Let's get into the video to watch it. So what we are going to learn today is called objections. Now, this is the last phase of our sales conversation always, right? So if I open that Miro board on this one, this is how the typical sales process looks like. We did probing, we did pitching. So today we are going to learn objection handling. Now, there is a certain process to handle any objection that come your way, right? And you can do it in a much advanced levels, but primarily just following 3 steps allows you to diffuse any and all objections. And these 3-step framework I keep using in everything. The first step is called agree. Second step is called isolate. Third step is called probe. No matter what objection. What are objections? Basically, objections are limiting belief. So out of the 7 belief systems, if we missed out on one, they get thrown at us as an objection. Simple as that, right? Now, if this thing is a limiting belief, sometimes what happens is we have to break and rebuild beliefs. We try our best during the sales conversation, but many times it's not possible that way, so objections get thrown at us. So there is a process to handle any objection, and that is called agree, isolate, probe. This is the overall framework. Then we'll go into deeper specific objections, right? So no matter what objection gets thrown at you, you should start an objection with an agreement statement or acknowledgement statement, right? So for example, if somebody says it's too costly, instead of saying why do you think it's too costly, that's the ideal, typical sales guru approach. But the reason why we feel like that's not the right way is because it creates a lot of conflict instead of, conversation. So your sales call should be a conversation, not a conflict, right? If somebody says I don't have money, you said why don't you have money? All of that. So it doesn't create like a good vibe. So what we do is we agree. I get it. Understood. Gotcha. Cool. These are all acknowledgement statements. You acknowledge that they have an objection. It lowers the barrier, and then you isolate the real objection. What is isolation? Is money the only thing stopping them from taking action, or is there something else? Right? That thing is called isolation. And finally, the third thing that we have is called probe. Once you isolated the right objection, now you probe deeper. Why did that objection come in the first place? Right? To show you an example, let's take one of the three scenarios, right? Let's cover this one first. So agreement statement, no problem, I understand, get it. Then isolation, we just use this one. It's like the transition to isolation. So let's say somebody says, oh, I need to think about it. Okay. We said, no problem, I got it. I appreciate that you have your own thinking process. For a second, let's just pretend that thinking is out of the equation. I mean, thinking aside, what do you feel about the process though? Do you feel like ultimately this is what you need to get to 10 lakhs a month? So we are kind of isolating around, is this the only thing stopping you from being less than 100% certain? Is there something else? And then we kind of go deeper. I mean, it will be better if I just show you like in the real world, but let's say we say, so this is finances, right? For example, if they have mentioned like money objection, then use this. I'll just go to a real world scenario, how it looks like. Let's start with financial objection, right? So let's say somebody says it's too expensive. Okay? Then what we do is, I get it. But money aside, is there anything stopping you from being less than 100% certain? Is that the only thing? What do you feel about the process though? So we need to get out the real objection. Sometimes money is not the real objection because everybody has money, right? And then what do you feel about the process though? Do you feel that this is ultimately what is going to take to get to a certain level? They'll give a particular answer. Then you do the probing part, right? Let's say money was the only thing. Then you say, cool. So that means you are not in a whether I should do it in a place. So you're not in a place where you're considering whether you should do it or not, or rather you are in a place where you just need to make the money work, right? Just arranging the money, right? They say yes. Gotcha. So then we offer them an EMI. Do you have a credit card? Can you present some sort of an EMI option? Break the money down into multiple parts. This is how money objection works. So that's about it. Now let me show you different types of objection that comes. Now also there is a thing that I have understood, that there are two types of major objection. One is a real objection and another one is a non-real objection. A real objection is something about your product, the deliverability of the product, the results that the product can show, all of that. However, what happens is, if the real objection comes, you should be happy because it shows that they are interested in getting the result. It shows the commitment, and most often than not, when there is a real objection coming, people end up getting closed. But if a non-real objection comes, real objection is like, how many weeks of training do I get? How will the placement process look like? What are the terms and conditions? If I get fired, can I get back to the placement system again? This is the real objection about the product. Non-real objections are basically we do not have basis. Like for example, oh, the price is too high. I mean, so what? That's my price, right? Or let's say we talk about um, let me talk to my partner. I mean, if you are in charge, then why is if your partner is in charge, then why is he not here? That's there. Third one is let me think about it. I mean, come on, who needs to think about stuff like that, right? So there are three different types of objections that come. Let me show you one by one how exactly we diffuse these objections. I'm sorry, somebody is at the door. I'll just get it. Yo, sorry. What is happening, Mawsum? Chatting with some girl? He's smiling while he's chatting. Cool. Sorry, I'm थोड़ा low on energy today. Acha. Now let's talk about different objections. First thing first, the partner objection, right? Spouse or business partner or whatever. Now sometimes people say, "Oh, I need to talk to my wife," right? And that is definitely an objection that we need to handle. So we give them two options. Again, agree, right? I get it. So apart from talking to your partner, what do you feel about the process though? So isolate into that. What do you feel about the process specifically? Do you feel like this is ultimately what you need? I mean, what do you think? Is there anything keeping you from being 100% certain? If they say, no, 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 I just need to talk to my partner, that's it. Then you go into the probing part. So the way we probe down into partner objection is by stating this. So is it a respect thing where you just need to tell them and just get onboarded, or do you absolutely need their permission? That means you don't have any authority over taking this decision. It hurts their ego a little bit, right? Sometimes it's, oh, it's just a respect thing. Like, cool, man. So, I mean, just a respect thing. How long do you think you need to talk to them? By today evening. Gotcha. So why don't I just book a call for you with a small deposit, and in the evening you can come in and you can join us. Simple, right? So then you take like a deposit and then you close this particular deal. More fun than not. But if they say, no, no, I need their presence, absolutely, otherwise it will not be possible, then we go ahead and patch something like, gotcha, man. So, I mean, is he on the phone? I mean, can you bring him on the Zoom call right away so that all of us can have educated discussion? And you don't have to pitch him anything. I'll be convincing them. So you reduce the burden on those. Let's say they still say, oh, it's not possible, I have to talk to them personally later. Then you have no other choice, right? In that particular case, you reschedule the call first and then tell them, look, Mawsum, this conversation with your brother or your wife or whatever, right, will go two ways. One, either you can say, oh, you know what, I always wanted to become a remote closer, and there is this guy who is charging 35,000. What do you think? That's option number one. And option number two, you can sit with your brother side by side and tell them, you know what, we spent all that $2,000-3,000 in that particular company, and I still didn't get results. Well, I found somebody in India who is doing the same thing and virtually guaranteeing our results, else they give our money back. And I really feel like they have a good network to get us placed, and I really want to buy in. But before I join in, I just need your emotional support and your buy-in so that I can get into this confidently. I'll promise that I'll make it work. Which one do you think will work the best for you? So we basically insert a script into their mind on how do they go ahead and do this, right? So this way, what happens is they now know what to talk. Otherwise, normally when people say, let's join, this is the guy, usually the partner is not convinced. This way, the partner is always, usually convinced. And what we do specifically in these terms is like, we reschedule the call. We tell them, okay, why don't we get on a call with your partner this Monday and just bring him on a call with me and let me talk to him if there is an issue. Or do you think there is any other issue apart from this? Then another real objection might come, but most of the time it doesn't come. And what we do is like we schedule the meeting and bring the partner on the call and do kind of the probing again. That is a separate thing. When the partner is on the call, what we specifically do is that we go ahead and basically pull out the questions. Let's say Mosam and Gunzil are brothers and partners and all. I would say, so Gunzil, Mohit told me that, or let's say Mosam told me that he was going through so XYZ problem. Do you agree with him? No? And how does it affect your situation? Does it feel like this is what you needed? Right? So we kind of do this sort of a thing so that both of these guys are aligned on the problem. I don't do as much deep of a problem, and then I pitch anyways. Most of the time, if one guy is sold, he will sell the other guy easily. Not like a big deal, right? So this is how you handle partner objection. So what do we do? Apart from this, there isn't anything else keeping you from being less than 100% certain, right? Awesome. So just hypothetically, if your partner was in this call, I believe in you and said that it's best for us and our business will be 100% in, they say yes. Cool. Okay, we also do a little bit of information gathering. I forgot about this. Just for clarity's sake, is this a respect thing where no matter what you're going to do, regardless, you're just going to let her know beforehand, out of respect? Or do you need to take the permission because ultimately it's not your sole decision to make? Whatever. And then you go a little bit deeper. What do you think they will say about this thing though? Do they agree that you're facing this problem? What do you think they will say about us? Do they know that you are in this call? We go a little bit deeper there. And then we do this clarity and contrast thing. Where you say, hey, I appreciate you being so open and honest. So look, this conversation can go two ways. It can be like, hey Arushi, I know you have that business of mine that I spent a lot of ton of money on, only to give us like constant up and down and stress. Well, I hopped on a call with this guy I met on the internet who might be able to help us, and it's 2 lakhs. What do you think? Here are the details. Or it can be a conversation where you sit down and tell her confidently that, hey Arushi, I know I've let you down in this business, and I know that despite all of that, you are, you've supported me every step to this point, and I want to let you know that I've decided and I've committed to growing this to where it should and be already, and have found someone to help us get there. But if I move forward, I want to get your emotional support and buy-in so that I know that we are in this together. Then I come back to the client after this particular thing. So let me ask you, which one of these two guys do you think is going to convince their partner? That's obviously number 2. Like, obviously, because you're not certain about this, and then she's not going to be either. Neither should she be, because with scenario number 1, you are not certain. So look, the real question is, when you go to talk to your partner, which one is this 2 guys are you going to be? Let's say the second. Sure? Because if there is anything that is keeping you from being less than 100% certain that this is what you want to do, let me know and we can talk about that. So again, we are doing one more layer of probing at this point. Right? So this is there. Uncertainty, which is like, again, I just want to think about it. Got it. I appreciate you having your own thinking process. Now at this point, what we do is we book another call, another meeting, basically. We tell them that, hey, let me pull out my calendar and have you book a specific time slot so that you don't have me. Okay, we say, no, just so that I'm sleeping off. Uncertainty, it says, I just want to think about it. Then you can say agree, which is like, gosh, I appreciate you having your own thinking process. Now, just so that I can stay organized from my end, what time frame are you looking at to think through this and get back at me? Back to me, so not at me. They'll say 3 days, 4 days, whatever. Like, cool. So what I can do is I can pull my calendar and have you book a specific time slot with me so that you don't have to chase me down and vice versa. So would you be opposed towards meeting on next Friday at 6 p.m. since you mentioned that you need this much? And then they say yes. So send them a mail. Can you quickly check your Google Calendar and see if you got an invite for this day? They say, okay, I got it. So can you mark yes so that it's confirmed? I say done. And then act as if you're leaving the meeting room, and they say, oh wait, before I go, what is it that you wanted to go over in your mind, just so that I know what questions you have for me later. I can help you with a proper game plan in the next call. And in the meantime, I can also pull out some resources that you can use for free. Like that, I have not written it here, but I usually throw them like an open loop. I tell them like, I'll also give you some resources that I'll share with you that you can use for free. So then he has an interest to come on the call next as well. right? And then you got disarmed, and then you'll find the real objection. Whatever they say at this point will be a real objection. Oh yeah, you know what? Honestly, it's the money thing. I don't have the money to pay you right now. Gotcha. I appreciate this honesty, man. I like that you may or may not have the funds. Funds aside, though, what do you feel about the process specifically? You feel this is working for you? They'll say yes. So you are not in a whether I should do it or not in a place like that, or like you are in a place where you're more like, how can I do this thing, and it's just a matter of making money work, right? They say yes. Awesome. So you know what I should do? Why don't we talk about how can we work on the funds part? Are you open to that? They say yes. Got it. How much money can you arrange right now? That's called the open wallet thing. How much money can you arrange right now? They say, let's say, out of 2 lakhs, I can pull out 50,000 rupees. Gotcha, man. So can we do like a two-part split? Like you can put down 50,000 now, and the rest you can start probably next month. Or let's say you can say you have a credit card. Can we put down some EMI options? So that way you can arrange some money. Pull out the money. So this is how you handle the money objections. So these are the 3 types of objection majority of the time that you get. If it is a technical objection about the product, you already would have product knowledge by then, so it'll be easy for you to close. But if it is a non-real objection like this, you have to follow this particular script, and the script is already there in the closing process document, right? Now, assignment for you, obviously, to a role play covering all the 35 objections. So by the Adib, what he has done is like he has created like 35 objections. It's the same thing, but there is like a way to handle this objection as well. And I would like you guys, not 35, let's just change it. Just do 3 observation, it's fine. Not a problem. Just do these 3 objections and memorize this 35, because it'll become like a 1 hour long call otherwise, right? So do a role play scenario where the other party throws objections like, I'll think about it, this is the money, it's too expensive, I'll need to talk to my partner thing. And then do a role play, submit that in the Google form, right? So that's about it. What questions do you guys have for me? Manzil?
So in the document itself, like in the last 33 or 34th objection, so there's this mention like, I don't want to go into depth or over objection. So there I didn't get the clarity of how exactly do we solve that objection.
Which one?
Last 33 objection or 34th, the exact number.
Let me pull this out. Oh, I don't want to get into debt, right? So that's a very good objection to throw. Like a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to mess up my credit lines to get this, right? So this objection usually comes if the cost of inaction is not probed properly. I mean, if you already know that staying in the current situation is worse, then probably this should not come, because you can always get into debt, right? So a lot of people actually throw this objection. I think it was it's sort of incomplete actually, but okay. Now what we do, I appreciate you taking care of this credit line thing, but apart from using credit line to arrange money for this, is there anything else stopping you from being 100% certain? What do you feel about the process? Obviously don't repeat it all the time, but let's say this is the first objection, right? And then they say, oh no, I'm 100% in, I just don't want to use my credit card. Oh, I get it. However, let me ask you this thing, Gunzil. So you mentioned that this problem is causing you ABC thing, and it's making you feel XYZ. So what would happen if we don't solve this problem at all, let's say? Because money is not there, so let's just postpone this objection, this particular situation, for another 6 months. What do you think happens 6 months down the line? So we probe down on that, and they share like either a good thing or a bad thing. Usually they say kind of a medium thing to escape the situation. We say, I get it, but say this doesn't happen. What else? Because it has not happened consistently. So somebody says, oh, by 6 months, if I work hard, then I'll probably get results. Gotcha, man. Thanks a lot for that. What happened in the last 6 months? Did you get any result? They'll say no. what are the chances that you'll get good results in the next 6 months? No. Are you willing to take that risk to stay in this situation, constantly in this pain, keep hunting for solution and not get any results? They'll say ABC. Then I say, you know what? As much of a Robert Kiyosaki fan or like whatever financial influencer who says like don't get out of debt that I am. However, something I've observed that if you could, make it work financially with the credit line, this will also kind of help you move things faster with our guidance. And this way you could probably solve the problem faster and make all of that money back in the next 6 months, which is technically not a risk. If you don't get results anyways, you don't have to pay us anything. You get the full refund. So do you think it's still a bad deal? So ऐसे करके we have to probe down on that.
Basically, cost of inaction, and we have to throw in guarantees. That's all.
Yes.
Okay. And also like lot. इतनी बार तो नहीं. Sometimes I like get कि I like already have 3-4 courses already with me. I would like to like finish these first, and then your program is super awesome. Like I love everything about it, but I already have like bought 3-4 courses already. I want to complete them first, and then maybe join your program. So then I like ask them, okay, how much time would it take for you to complete? They like say probably 1-2 months.
So this objection arises because you have not asked the efforts question. See, after doubt, there is a section, right? So have you taken any other program to help you out with so and so? They'll say, oh yes. That's when they should be doing some honesty. Let's say they said we have so and so program, and then you could have probed deeper, saying that, so if you have all this program, why are you talking to me? What are the what is good and what is not good in those programs? So if you hold on to that and hold them accountable to that particular statement, what happens is later on this objection doesn't come. Let's say this objection came because you missed out on that. Let's say he was not honest that time. ठीक है? अब क्या कर सकते हो? Right? What you can do is like, gotcha man. So you mentioned you have all these programs left. So why are you here talking to me? Oh, I was just curious about so and so. Really? Is this what you do? Keep hopping on calls and be curious like this? Then no. I was actually going through the problem, and this program that you are going through, has it helped in any way? I mean, if it has, then what made you concerned about a solution? Like, no, I was looking if I could get the results faster. Yeah, exactly, right? So would you get any results in the next 6 months while you're completing the program? No. So what if I told you this, that by implementing this system, you can probably get your first high ticket clients in the next 6 weeks while you are continuing that other program? So do you think you need results faster, or are you someone who just keeps delaying results so that, and keep delaying the money that you could possibly attract? So that's the way I would kind of do it. Instead of telling them how long, it will be like why question at this point. Because they are not sold. If they say there is another program, they are basically comparing you with that program. So they have to be sold.
This basically mostly comes into like setter and like initial calls, because udhar we actually try to understand the situation and everything. Closing with we this process, so that's why it's like.
Then make a promise to them. So you have to like throw in like a curve, not curve, like an open loop, and then the open loop will be closed in the sales call. So how it will go as a setter is like, let's say, oh, we already have a program that is going. Oh, man, thanks a lot. So what made you book a call with us? Gotcha. And if you're going through this program, I mean, do you keep hopping on calls like this, or are you somebody who's dedicatedly working on something? No. I was curious. This is a problem that I'm facing. Gotcha. And in this program, how long have you been in this program? Okay, let's say 2 months. Have you gotten any results in 2 months? They'll say yes or no. They say no, more likely, right? And I was like, so what if we could get your first high ticket client in the next 4 to 6 weeks? Is that something that you'd be interested in? Because honestly, bro, if you have not closed any clients for 2 months now, I think something needs to change. What are your thoughts? And can you really wait for another 4 months to get some results, or do you want to get things done faster? Let's say faster. Cool. So what I can do is I can assign you with one of our consultants. They can try and help you out. हो जाएगा फिर. So speed के ऊपर you can play a lot. And something I've observed it, you can use speed like anything. If the program actually delivers speed, that's there. If the program actually delivers speed, then you can use speed as like a moat to book any number of calls and close any number of deals. Like for me, literally, like people come and throw me, like one of my competitors is Penovate. People come and say like Penovate has more credibility than you. They are in the market for longer than you. I'm like, great, awesome. By the way, they take about a month to finalize one VSL script. We build the entire end-to-end funnel in 5 days. And then people just go silent. So is it okay for you to wait for like a month and then start ad campaign, then build the VSL, and then you know then hope and pray to see results? Or do you want to start with the imperfect VSL that you can cook out in like less than a week, and you can test, fail faster so that you know what is working, what is not working? What do you think? Then people are usually sold. Majority of them, speed comes to my rescue.
Mostly, I feel objections are like of two types. One where like probe a lot, right? Just as need to think my partner, yeah, I'll think about it while apart mein. And there are these types of objection where we are actually making them think about the situation and we are not probing at all. Just a courses wala part, we are not probing anything. What is the course? What is the outcome? Anything. We are just telling about ourselves. So like, how do we determine ki, like which one would be like a probing wala and which one would be like a related?
See, in that agree, isolate, probe, if you just stick to that, probe is common everywhere. So the three objections that I gave you, it is post sales call mostly, right? But let's say it is setting call where sales has not been done yet. Majority of the time you have to probe and find out why that objection is objection. Why is this guy in the call, and bring out that pain as much as possible. In sales calls, majority of the times these objections don't come proving wale. Most of them, because everything is answered in the script. So this usually doesn't come. Even if it comes, you can handle it the same way like we do. But outside of partner, money, or uncertainty, it's like, why should this objection even come in the first place? Like literally there was an objection was like, if I make all this money, how would I manage my taxes? I'm like, bro, is that even a concern? So funny stuff that keeps happening. What do you do in those cases, right? Cool. Anything else, bro?
So like wanted to like ask, so when they like see the systems or they have like understood a lot about it, or sometimes they have already been trying a little bit from themselves as well. So they say like, yeah, like I understand your whole process and everything. Like I want to like first try it by myself for like 2 to 3 months, see how it goes for me. So it will be like better for me since I've already tried it. And then when we start, I can achieve the results faster because I already know a little bit.
Then doubt is not done. Is it coming on setting calls, or is it coming through the closing calls?
Mostly like setting. Closing calls may like rarely it comes, but yeah.
Because doubt question is already done. Because what's stopping you from getting this result, solving this on your own? And even when you're setting, kind of you have to do that probing part, na? First 30 minutes. You have to do a crisper version of that on the setting most of the time. So where you ask, like, what's the challenge? Cool, man. So what's stopping you from getting this result? And why can't you? I mean, you sound like a smart guy. I mean, what's stopping you from getting it done? And then it can either be like, I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't know. Most of the time they say, I don't know. The moment they say, I don't know, cool, I know a consultant who can help you out, right? Because in setting calls, bro, you're not selling them the stuff. In setting call, we are booking them with a partner, and then we are telling them that, hey, if you like what you saw, then feel free to come in. If you don't, there is no obligation for you, but at least you learn something. So that's the way we do it. But वो doubt वाला question, bro, probing में भी आता है बहुत ज़्यादा. You have to do that. So that's very important. And people, when they see this, there is one way to handle this objection, but I'm not sure if this is the most compliant way. But the best way to see doubt is the thing, like, hey, if I watched this video, why haven't you, done it yet? Is basically what we ask. But more often than not, we just play on that card where we say like, they say, well, let me do it on my own. We just try to avoid it by asking that pain point and then tell them what is stopping you from doing it on your own. That seeds doubt and that gets the shit done. That's what I'm thinking. Cool.
Yeah.
Vignesh?
So most of the time I get an objection like we have been also seeing other agencies, and at that time my response would be like, got it, man. I understand that you have been in touch with other agencies. It's great that you are exploring other options as well. So that's where then I pitch. I mean, I won't actually pitch. I would rather say like what sets apart is like our USP and all, and we believe in our expertise. So could you share what specific area or concern you have? I mean, is it the right approach or do we need to?
No, dude. So first things first, this should not even come. This is on the sales call, right? Unmute.
Sorry, yeah, yeah.
And this objection comes on a sales call.
This mostly comes from DPQ side. I mean,
Not DPQ. I mean, during the sales call or the setting call or like what? When did you get this objection?
discovery call actually. I mean, it's a
Ah.
closing thing only.
Discovery.
Closing call.
Yeah. Gotcha. So when it is a discovery call, obviously everyone says like every goddamn company says like, we're talking with other vendors, right? Then we're like, gotcha, man. Did you find anyone good? And then I stop and then I'll just wait for their answer. There was one company that did it with me. They said that, hey, we are also talking to a few other vendors. We'll let you know, because pitching has not happened. And they wanted to just, show their authority. So I would just say like, okay, cool, man, that's awesome. So did you like any one of those agencies though? So what exactly did you like about them? What do you feel is missing that because of which you are still talking to me? I mean, if you liked someone, clearly you could have hired them. Now I got everything that I wanted, which I'll present in my proposal and present it as like a solution that they want. So that's the right way of doing it. Don't tell them why you are good, because how
No,
can you compare yourself with somebody that you have not seen?
Yeah. I mean, initially we used to do that. So that's when they agreed to us, and during the second call, they was like that. Yeah, we unfortunately moved to another agency.
They will say exactly that because you don't have the data, right?
Okay.
Your point, you don't know how they are better than you, right? So your job is to know how they are better than you. So did you like any one of those? So what did you not like about them that you are, talking to me? And then they'll say, oh, I was looking at other people who will do it for cheaper. Really? Do you always keep finding cheap stuff? Or do you think somebody who can help you in the right quality, in the right speed?
Got it.
We share that, and then when we share that, then like cool. So what did you like about them? What did you not like about them? Whatever answer they give, that becomes a part of our proposal. Simple, right? So yeah, that's about it. Anything else?
No, this is the only thing.
Cool, guys. Go ahead and submit your applications. Anything else, Gunzal? All good. Sure. Bye. All right, we are pretty much done with the whole video. I have covered, how do you handle your tone? How do you ask the right questions to uncover your prospect's deepest, darkest desires? How do you pitch your product so that they can't say no? And how exactly to handle objections in case they do? But that's not the entire sales process. The entire sales process has too many variables, but this is how a typical sales call goes. Now, the whole sales process actually starts from branding, then marketing, kind of selling your prospect subtly through visuals over social media, and then they get on a call. That's when a human explains how exactly our programs and everything, how do they look like, right? And then post sales, there is a whole new section on delivery, onboarding, so many things that could happen in a business. However, I hope this particular whole 3-4 hour whatever long video has helped you understand the nitty-gritties of a sales conversation, how it goes, and I hope it has given you a fair idea on how do these high ticket sales scenarios work. Now if it has helped you, then all I want you to do is comment something that you really liked in this video. Maybe comment the top 3 learnings from this video. It will really help me get a fair idea about how much this video has added value to your life so that I can create more such videos. So all you have to do is comment below, like and share this video with your best friends who want to learn this particular skill. And if you want to work with me, help me, let me help you kind of improve your sales skills, help you close better, work with my company. Now all you got to do, I have dropped like a link below this particular video where you can book in a call, and we can have a conversation with my team and see how we can come in and help, right? So thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.